Sometimes life rips the floor out from under you without warning. The people you trusted walk away. The dreams you built with your bare hands fall apart. And worst of all, no explanation ever comes. It's in those moments, when nothing makes sense, when anger, confusion, and sadness choke your heart, that a brutal question starts to scream inside. Why is this happening to me? Tonight, you're not here by accident. There's a reason your path crossed this video, because buried inside all that pain, failure, and loss is a message you were meant to hear, one that could change the way you see everything forever. Buddhism doesn't offer fairy tales or false promises. It offers truth, raw, liberating, powerful truth. It teaches that every heartbreak, every closed door, every unfair twist was not a punishment, but a part of a bigger story your soul chose long before today. Stay until the end, because tonight you're going to learn the deeper meaning behind every broken moment in your life. And once you see it, you'll never carry your suffering the same way again. Let's begin. Some truths hit so hard that once you hear them, you can never go back. And here's one of them. Nothing that happens to you is random. Not the heartbreaks, not the betrayals, not even the strange, lucky breaks that seem to come out of nowhere. There's a hidden blueprint stitched beneath every single event. A pattern, invisible to the eye, but as real as the air you're breathing right now. And tonight, you're not here by chance. You're here because something inside you is ready to see that pattern for the first time. What if every moment of pain was actually a seed you planted long ago? Not because you deserved to suffer, but because that seed was carrying a lesson that could only bloom under the right conditions. Every action you take, every word you speak, every choice you make drops a seed into the vast soil of existence. Some seeds sprout immediately. Others fall deep into the earth, sleeping there quietly, waiting for the perfect moment to break open. Life doesn't lose track. Life doesn't forget. Life is the most precise gardener you will ever meet. It's easy to think today's struggles are random, that you were just unlucky, that life has it out for you. But look deeper. Every joy you've ever experienced was once a seed. Every betrayal was once an unseen ripple you helped send out, even if it was lifetimes ago. This isn't punishment. This isn't revenge. This is simply the field, returning what was planted. Karma is not about blame. It's about cause and effect, moving with surgical precision, beyond what memory can hold. Think of a field you planted as a child, but forgot about. Years later, strange fruits start appearing. You might be confused, even angry. But the fruits are no mystery. They are simply answering to the call of seeds you once dropped into the earth without thinking. Karma is the same. Life blooms exactly what was planted, exactly when the time is right, whether you remember it or not. This karmic blueprint is not just about the big things like marriage, loss, or success. It weaves itself into the tiny, invisible moments too. The time a stranger smiled at you when you were on the verge of giving up. The opportunity that showed up 5 minutes after you decided to trust the path again. The heartbreak that didn't destroy you, but forced you to finally stop living small. These things aren't random. They are karmic echoes, returning at just the right frequency to touch your soul. If you want to know the karma of your past, look at your life right now. If you want to know the karma of your future, look at the choices you are making in this very moment. That can feel like a heavy truth at first. It can make you want to crawl into guilt or blame. But don't. Karma isn't here to trap you. It's here to wake you up. Because karma is not a closed prison. It's a living field. It shifts. It breathes. And with every breath you take, you are planting new seeds. You can change the entire future of your life by the way you choose to live today. Some seeds are stubborn. They come from old lifetimes, or ancestral lines, or collective energies. But even those can be softened by new seeds. Patience, compassion, forgiveness, courage. These new seeds send roots down into the hard ground of your history and start to break apart the old, hardened patterns. Little by little, breath by breath, you are reshaping your entire karmic garden. This is why the worst moments often come when you're ready to grow. Because the karmic blueprint knows what you need to crack open next. Not to punish you, to free you. It's brutal love at its finest. It tears down what no longer serves you, so that the next level of your life can have space to breathe. Think about the most powerful people you admire. The ones with wisdom in their eyes and calm in their bones. Do you really think they got that way because life pampered them? No. They walked through storms. They were broken open. They cried in the dark. They lost what they thought they couldn't live without. And somewhere inside those nights of confusion, they planted new seeds. Seeds of resilience, seeds of grace, seeds of real, grounded power. Karma is not static. It doesn't just sit in the past, waiting to pounce. It moves with you. It responds to the way you respond to life. If you meet your suffering with anger and hatred, you plant more pain. If you meet it with forgiveness and fierce love, you plant freedom, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will cross your path in the future. There's another secret that karma carries. Not all the seeds that bloom in your life were planted by your hands alone. Some were handed to you by ancestors you never met. Some were woven into your DNA by the lives your bloodline lived before you ever took your first breath. And yet, here you are, with the power to choose, to break old patterns, to heal old wounds, to leave a softer garden for the ones who will come after you. Even the timing of your struggles is not random. Life watches you. Life feels you. It knows when you are too raw to handle certain lessons. So it waits. It lets you build strength quietly, until one day it delivers a situation so perfectly timed you could almost swear the universe was conspiring for you, not against you. When you see a door slam in your face, when you feel betrayal slice through your heart, when you face a failure so deep it makes you question everything, know this: the karmic blueprint is not destroying you. It is releasing you. It is pruning what must fall away so that your true self, the part of you that is limitless, can finally breathe. Buddhist masters say that when karma ripens, two things happen. It reveals your hidden strengths and it shows you where your next work lies, not as punishment, as pure, sharp teaching. It's life handing you the exact experience you need to become the next version of yourself. The karmic blueprint also explains why some prayers seem to go unanswered. It's not because life doesn't hear you. It's because some seeds are not ready to bloom yet. Some harvests need more rain, more sun, more time. Some gifts would crush you if they came too soon. Life delays them until you are ready to hold them with open, steady hands. Patience isn't weakness. In karmic time, patience is mastery. It's trust. It's knowing that every breath, every tear, every silent act of kindness you plant into the field is shifting something invisible, something huge. And someday, when the time is right, it will break through the surface of your life, and you will understand why you had to wait. You don't have to live in fear of karma. You don't have to tiptoe through life trying to be perfect. You just have to be conscious. Be awake when you speak. Be awake when you act. Be awake when you choose between resentment and forgiveness, between fear and love, because every moment you are awake, you are planting a future you will be proud to inherit. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are an active co-creator with life. And every act of honesty, every word of compassion, every silent prayer for someone else's happiness echoes louder than you know. It shifts the currents. It heals the past. It builds a future wider than your current eyes can see. If you could see the tapestry of your life from above, the bright moments, the dark moments, the invisible threads connecting everything, you would be overwhelmed by the sheer beauty of it. Nothing wasted, nothing random, nothing without meaning. Even the pain you are carrying tonight is not here to break you. It's here to shape you into something stronger, deeper, and more fearless than you ever imagined you could be. And maybe, just maybe, the seeds you are planting tonight, the ones made of patience, trust, and silent courage, will blossom into a future more beautiful than any dream you thought you lost. Stay with this journey, because what comes next will take you even deeper. Next, we dive into the truth that will forever change how you see your life and everyone else's. How every event, every heartbreak, every coincidence is connected through the river of interdependence. A current that proves nothing stands alone and nothing is meaningless. Keep listening. You are about to see the river that's been carrying you all along. The seeds you planted, the blueprint unfolding beneath your feet. They are only half the story. There's something even bigger happening, something that stretches beyond personal karma and into the very structure of reality itself. To see it clearly, you need to lift your eyes from your own field and look at the vast, living river that carries all life together. Because the truth is harsher and more beautiful than anything you were ever taught. No event stands alone. No loss, no victory, no heartbreak, no miracle happens in isolation. Everything you experience is the final spark of 1,000 unseen causes coming together at once. Everything is woven. Everything is shared. Life is not a series of disconnected events. Life is a river where every drop is touched by every other drop. One cause here, another cause there, a ripple across time and space you will never trace fully with the mind, but that you feel deeply when you sit still enough. Nothing is separate. The loneliness you felt on that dark night wasn't created by a single bad day. It was built by layers of experiences, by the absence of certain voices, by the weight of choices made by others and yourself, all rippling together until they formed a tide that washed over you. The joy you felt when someone unexpectedly helped you wasn't just kindness in the moment. It was 100 silent acts of generosity moving through the world, finally reaching you when your heart needed it most. Everything that happens is a crossroads of causes. The words someone speaks to you today might be the echo of pain they swallowed 10 years ago. The opportunity that fell into your lap might be the reward of kindness given by someone else to a stranger you will never meet. The accident you barely avoided was not luck. It was the result of infinite adjustments being made across invisible networks of timing, space, decision, intuition, all meeting at exactly the right fraction of a second to protect you. Life is not chaotic. Life is impossibly intricate, impossibly precise. Even the tragedies you thought were pure destruction carried hidden roots stretching backward into countless lives and choices. Your heartbreak didn't just spring out of nowhere. It was fed by family patterns, societal stories, unhealed wounds passed silently from generation to generation until they found you, asking, begging to be faced and healed at last. The betrayal that shattered your trust was not just about one person's failure. It was about the fear they carried, the traumas they never named, the pressures they buckled under, all converging into a single act of hurt that you now have the chance to transform. The river of interdependence shows that no one suffers alone. Your tears tonight might water the soil for someone else's healing tomorrow. Your courage to stand up today might silently strengthen a stranger you will never meet. And your decision to forgive, though it feels invisible, might break a chain of hatred that has been handed down for centuries. Every act, every thought, every silence sends ripples through the river. You matter more than you know. Your kindness echoes farther than you will ever see. The ancient Buddhist masters taught that if you pull on a single thread, you pull on the entire universe. Nothing can exist independently. A tree cannot grow without soil, without sun, without rain, without countless bacteria nourishing its roots, without the wind carrying its seeds, without the birds that spread its life farther than it could reach on its own. And you, just like that tree, are not a separate being struggling against the world. You are the world. You are the echo of countless kindnesses and countless struggles, all living through you in this moment. When you suffer, it's not just your suffering. It's the weight of 1,000 untold stories converging through your body, asking for witness, asking for healing. When you laugh, it's not just your happiness. It's the flowering of joys fought for by countless ancestors who dared to dream of a softer life. You are never alone, not even for one breath. This understanding doesn't erase your pain, it dignifies it. It gives your heartbreak a home inside a much larger story. It shows you that your sorrow is not weakness, but part of the river moving toward awakening, carving new paths through the mountains of old suffering. And the river is wise. It does not waste a single drop, not your tears, not your mistakes, not even the moments you regret the most. You can choose to fight the river, curse the tides, resent the currents, or you can learn to trust it. You can learn to float, even when the waters turn dark, even when you can't see the shore. Trusting the river doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding that even your struggles are steering you somewhere you cannot yet see, somewhere more beautiful than your limited imagination could ever design. The river of interdependence also shows that blame is useless. When you understand how many causes flow into a single event, blaming one person or even yourself becomes absurd. It's like blaming the last drop of rain for the flood. Everything is connected. Everything was moving long before the final moment arrived. Your task is not to point fingers. Your task is to see deeper, to feel more, to live with open eyes and an open heart. Compassion grows naturally from this view. How can you hate someone when you realize they are trapped in the same river, battered by the same invisible storms? How can you judge someone when you realize their cruelty was not born in a vacuum, but shaped by wounds and fears carried for generations? This doesn't mean excusing harm. It means seeing it clearly, responding with wisdom instead of blind rage. It means refusing to add more poison to the waters you all share. The river of interdependence also teaches patience. Some ripples take years to return. Some seeds you plant today might not flower until long after you're gone. You might never see the full impact of your goodness, your forgiveness, your resilience. But it matters. It always matters. Every kindness offered into the river strengthens the whole. Even your smallest acts matter more than you know. A smile to a stranger on a dark day, a silent prayer for someone you dislike, a moment of honesty when lying would have been easier. These are not small things. They are anchors thrown into the storm, helping steady the world one soul at a time. When you truly see the river, gratitude becomes your natural state. Gratitude not just for the good days, but for the hard ones too. Gratitude for the unseen hands that helped you when you stumbled. Gratitude even for the heartbreaks that cracked your heart open wider than fear ever allowed. Gratitude for being allowed to play even a small part in this vast, mysterious unfolding of life. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means bowing to the mystery even when it hurts. It means trusting that the river knows where it's going, even when your mind screams that you are lost. When you stop seeing yourself as a separate island, cut off and alone, and start seeing yourself as part of the living, breathing ocean, a strange peace begins to settle inside you. The storms still come. The losses still hurt. But underneath it all, a steady current carries you, and you know, deeply know, that you are held. You were never abandoned. You were never forgotten. You are part of something so vast, so interconnected, so breathtakingly beautiful that words can barely touch it. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you never will be. This understanding changes everything. It changes how you treat others. It changes how you treat yourself. It changes how you walk through the darkest nights. It reminds you that every step, every stumble, every victory, every loss, every cry, every laugh, it all matters. It all ripples outward forever. This is why nothing is meaningless. No meeting, no goodbye, no random encounter in a crowded street, no word left unsaid, no kindness too small. Everything flows together, crossing invisible lines to form the life you live and the future you are helping shape. When you understand this, you become more careful with your words, more mindful with your actions, more tender with the hearts of others, because you realize that everything you do is part of the river. Every act of love strengthens it. Every act of cruelty muddies it, and the river always returns. Tonight, as you fall asleep, remember this: you are not drifting alone. You are not a mistake. You are part of the great weaving, the great flowing, the great breathing of life itself. Trust the river. Add your courage to it. Add your kindness to it. And let it carry you, reshaping the world, drop by drop, into something more beautiful than any of us can yet see. When you start to see the river flowing through everything, you realize that even loss has its place. And not just as something to endure. Loss, for all the pain it brings, often carries a fierce compassion that only reveals itself with time. The pieces of life that fall away are not always torn from you out of cruelty. Sometimes they are carefully removed because they were blocking the path you were meant to walk. Sometimes the things you cling to most tightly are the very things that would suffocate your deeper life if they stayed. Loss does not always come to punish you. It comes to clear the space where your real growth must happen. It comes to cut away the false structures you mistook for safety. It comes to dismantle the lies you built your identity on. It comes to shatter the illusions that kept you asleep. And even though it feels brutal, even though it leaves you gasping, somewhere deep down, a wiser part of you already knows it had to happen. There are moments in life when clinging becomes more dangerous than letting go. Relationships that drain your spirit, dreams that no longer fit your evolving soul, identities that shrink you instead of expanding you. When you refuse to release them, life steps in. And life is not gentle when mercy is required. Life doesn't apologize when it rips away what you refuse to drop. Because mercy isn't always soft. Sometimes mercy feels like heartbreak. Sometimes protection feels like betrayal. Loss strips you down to the bones of who you really are. It pulls away the ornaments, the masks, the stories you told yourself to feel important, safe, admired. It leaves you raw, exposed, tender. And it is in that rawness that true transformation begins. Without the loss, you would stay trapped. Without the loss, you would continue living inside a version of yourself that could never bear the weight of the life you were meant to live. Think about the times you lost something you thought you couldn't live without. A job, a friendship, a home, a sense of certainty. At first, the ground disappears. You fall. You question everything. You rage against the unfairness. But if you stay long enough in the emptiness, something unexpected starts to happen. New strength grows where weakness lived. New vision rises where blindness ruled. New freedom breathes where fear once choked you. Loss is not destruction. Loss is recreation. Loss is the fire that burns away what is false so that only the true can remain. And true strength does not grow in comfort. True strength is born in devastation, in silence, in rebuilding yourself from pieces you never thought could fit together again. Sometimes life takes away not because you are being punished, but because you are being saved from dangers you could not see. The relationship that broke your heart might have saved you from a lifetime of slow, spiritual death. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers might have protected you from a future you would have hated. The rejection that humiliated you might have preserved your dignity for something better, something you couldn't even dream about from where you stood back then. Pain blinds you at first. It makes it impossible to see the bigger mercy at work. It makes you curse the sky and question your worth. But slowly, if you are willing to stay open, you begin to see the fingerprints of compassion, even in the losses that shattered you. You begin to realize that losing what was not truly yours was the first step toward finding what could never be taken away. Every illusion you lose clears the way for a deeper truth. Every false hope you release makes room for a real calling to surface. Every broken attachment you mourn carves out more space inside your heart for freedom to bloom. Loss teaches you who you are without your trophies, without your crutches, without your titles, and who you are beneath all that. That is where your real power lives. The compassion of loss is brutal because it refuses to let you stay small. It refuses to let you mistake comfort for aliveness. It refuses to let you cling to dreams that were built on fear instead of courage. It tears down everything that cannot stand the weight of your soul's true purpose. And it does not wait for your permission. It moves when the time is ripe, when the old skin must be shed, when the old story must die, so that a truer story can be born. Loss shows you the places where you tried to bargain with life. It shows you the deals you tried to make to avoid growth. It shows you the corners where you tried to hide from your own power. And then, without warning, it lights a match and burns those hiding places to the ground. Not to leave you homeless, but to push you into the wilderness where you can find your real home, the one built from inner strength, from courage, from surrender. There is a kind of freedom that only comes from having nothing left to lose. There is a kind of clarity that only comes after the illusions are gone. Loss can become your sharpest teacher if you let it. It can become the force that frees you from the chains you didn't even realize you were wearing. But only if you are willing to stop clinging to what has already been taken. Grieving is sacred. Mourning what was lost is holy work. Denying your pain is not strength. Real strength is in feeling the grief fully, letting it break your heart open, and still choosing to trust that the tearing was not meaningless. Still choosing to believe that something deeper is being carved out inside you. A new capacity for life, a new tenderness, a new wisdom. When you lose something important, you have a choice. You can let the loss define you, or you can let it refine you. You can build walls to protect yourself from future pain, or you can build bridges toward a deeper life. You can curse the loss as senseless cruelty, or you can bow to it as a difficult, necessary blessing. Loss teaches you the art of surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. Trust that life knows what it is doing, even when you don't. Trust that your soul knows how to grow, even when your mind screams that it's over. Trust that the emptiness you feel now is not a grave, but a garden waiting for a new planting. Sometimes the greatest mercy life can show you is not giving you what you think you want. Sometimes mercy is in the unanswered prayer, in the dream that refuses to materialize, in the door that slams shut so hard you can't even pretend you were meant to walk through it. Your soul is wiser than your desires. Your deeper self knows what you came here to do, even when your conscious mind has forgotten. Loss realigns you. It shakes you loose from paths that would have led you into deeper cages. It breaks your heart open so that the light trapped inside can finally shine. The compassion of loss asks you to trust in the invisible. To trust that just because you can't see the meaning now doesn't mean there isn't one. To trust that someday, maybe years from now, you will look back on this heartbreak and thank life for not letting you settle for less than you were born for. Pain is real. Grief is real. Rage is real. None of it is wrong. Feel it all. But don't let it blind you to the deeper mercy flowing through the loss. Don't let it convince you that life is cruel. Because the truth is far harder and far more beautiful. Life is merciful beyond what your mind can understand. It just doesn't always look the way you want it to. One day you will look back and see that the things you lost were the very things you needed to release in order to become free. One day you will realize that the emptiness you feared was actually the clearing for a deeper, richer life. One day you will bless the losses that once broke you, and when that day comes, you will understand that nothing was ever taken from you without something greater being given in return. Not in the way you expected, not in the form you thought you wanted, but in a deeper, truer way, the way that leads not to comfort, but to awakening. Loss teaches you to let go, but the next stage of growth demands something even harder. It asks you to look at the very people who caused you the most pain, the obstacles that blocked your path, the situations that crushed your pride, and see something you never expected. They were not accidents. They were not mistakes. They were invisible teachers placed directly on your path, carrying lessons that nothing else could have delivered. Not because they were wise, not because they knew what they were doing, but because life itself knew what you needed to awaken. And awakening, as you are learning, is rarely comfortable. The people who hurt you the most often play a sacred role without even realizing it. They trigger the places inside you that were buried. They press against the wounds you tried to hide. They bring to the surface the anger, the grief, the fear that you were too scared to face. And in doing so, they give you a brutal gift. They reveal the parts of yourself still trapped in illusion. Without their pressure, without their betrayal, without their rejection, you might have continued living behind masks that were slowly choking the life out of you. Enemies and obstacles are mirrors. They reflect back the unconscious structures you have built inside your mind. They show you the places where you are still attached to needing approval, to seeking control, to clinging to stories about who you are supposed to be. Every time someone insults you, dismisses you, abandons you, they are peeling back a layer of your ego that was built on shaky ground. And even though it feels personal, even though it feels like an attack, it is really an invitation to go deeper, to let go of who you think you are, to discover a strength that doesn't need defending. The hardest lessons are carried by the people you resent the most. The friend who betrayed you forced you to face your expectations about loyalty. The boss who humiliated you forced you to confront your identity tied to achievement. The lover who left you forced you to examine the illusions you built around love and worth. These experiences rip away the shallow definitions you clung to, leaving you raw, stripped, and unbearably alive. And in that rawness, a deeper self is waiting to be born. A self that is no longer chained to the opinions, actions, or validation of others. The invisible teachers come dressed as enemies because your surface mind resists growth. Comfort is addictive. Familiarity is seductive. Without disruption, without pressure, without discomfort, you would have no reason to question the lies you live inside. Growth is not natural to the ego. The ego wants survival. The soul wants freedom. And freedom often demands the breaking of everything false you built to protect yourself. The Buddhist masters taught that your worst enemy is your greatest benefactor, because they force you to practice real compassion, real patience, real understanding, not just when it's easy, but when every part of you wants to shut down. Without enemies, compassion remains a theory. Without obstacles, patience remains a wish. Without betrayal, forgiveness remains an idea you talk about but never taste. The invisible teachers bring the practice to life. They force it into your bones. They make it real. Obstacles that block your dreams are also teachers. They are not random barriers. They are precision tools placed by life to redirect your energy, to slow you down when your pride outruns your wisdom, to humble you when your ambition blinds you to your deeper needs. When you hit a wall, you have two choices. You can slam against it in rage and resentment, or you can sit down quietly, listen, and ask the deeper question, what is this wall trying to show me about myself? Sometimes the obstacle is there because the timing is wrong. Sometimes it's there because your dream is still rooted in fear, or vanity, or insecurity, and it must be purified before it can bear fruit. Sometimes the obstacle is protecting you from a path that looks beautiful now, but would have hollowed out your soul if you had continued down it. The obstacle is not your enemy. It is a guardian standing at the doorway of a deeper life. The more you resist your enemies and obstacles, the more you suffer. Resistance strengthens the very ego structures the invisible teachers are trying to dismantle. Anger, blame, and bitterness solidify the illusions instead of dissolving them. But when you soften, when you allow yourself to feel the pain fully without creating new stories of hatred or victimhood, you break the cycle. You allow the lesson to enter. You allow the healing to begin. There is a fierce kind of gratitude that arises when you begin to see your life this way. Not a fake gratitude that pretends everything is fine, but a deeper gratitude that bows even to the pain because you understand that it is working for your freedom. You begin to see that the people who hurt you the most were unknowingly carving a path back to yourself. You begin to see that the obstacles you cursed were saving you from 1,000 silent deaths of the spirit. This doesn't mean you have to keep toxic people in your life. This doesn't mean you have to stay in situations that crush your spirit. Sometimes the lesson is to walk away. Sometimes the lesson is to say no with a clear, strong voice. But even as you walk away, even as you protect yourself, you can do it without hatred. You can do it with gratitude for what was taught, even if the teaching came wrapped in pain. Forgiveness is not about pretending the harm didn't happen. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from carrying the poison forward. It's about seeing the invisible teachers for what they were, instruments of your awakening, not definitions of your worth. When you forgive, you release the last thread that binds you to the wound. You step out of the story of victim and into the story of creator. The deeper you look, the more you see that even the worst moments of your life carried seeds of transformation. The betrayal that shattered you taught you to trust your inner voice over outside promises. The rejection that humiliated you taught you to root your worth in being, not in approval. The loss that devastated you taught you that you can survive endings and still find new beginnings. The invisible teachers are relentless because your soul's growth is relentless. The soul doesn't settle. The soul doesn't stop at comfort. It pushes, it breaks, it stretches until every corner of illusion has been touched by the light. And it uses every tool available, even your enemies, even your failures, even your darkest nights, to get the job done. If you could see the full blueprint of your life, you would fall to your knees in awe. You would see that nothing was wasted, not one heartbreak, not one betrayal, not one failure. All of it was sculpting you into someone capable of real love, real freedom, real courage. All of it was stripping away the false so that the real could rise. The invisible teachers will not stop appearing. As long as there are still layers of ego to dissolve, life will keep sending them. Each one rougher, sharper, more unexpected than the last. Not because life hates you, but because life loves you too much to let you stay small. Life sees the vastness inside you that you have forgotten. Life remembers the freedom you are capable of, even when you have given up on yourself. You are not a victim of your enemies. You are not a failure because of your obstacles. You are a soul in the middle of a sacred training, and the bruises you carry are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you are being forged into something fierce, something tender, something unbreakable. The next time you face someone who triggers your deepest anger or fear, remember, this is not random. This is an invitation. This is a mirror. This is a chance to meet yourself more honestly than you ever have before. And if you meet it with even a little bit of awareness, a little bit of softness, you will find that the very person you thought was breaking you was actually handing you the key to your next level of freedom. The hardest teachers often come wearing the face of an enemy. But there is one teacher even more difficult to endure than betrayal, rejection, or loss. It moves quietly. It speaks in silence. It tests every part of you without saying a single word. It is the lesson of waiting, the lesson of patience, the lesson of being suspended between what you hope for and what you fear. And just like the invisible enemies, it is not there to torture you. It is there to refine you. Patience feels like abandonment because your mind was trained to equate waiting with failure. You set goals, you plan outcomes, you chase results, and when nothing moves, when doors stay shut, when your prayers seem to dissolve into empty air, something inside starts to rot with doubt. But what if waiting is not the absence of progress? What if waiting is a silent, secret work happening underground where the mind cannot see? The mirror of delay shows you parts of yourself that no amount of action can reveal. It shows you your desperation. It shows you your hidden bargains with life. It shows you how much of your trust was conditional on getting what you wanted quickly. And it asks you, can you trust now, even when everything looks dead? Can you believe in a deeper timing, even when your plans have crumbled to dust? Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. Waiting is the soft, slow turning of the soil beneath your life, aligning pieces you cannot yet see. Seeds planted in the heart need darkness before they can break open. Roots grow in silence before anything appears above ground. Patience is not sitting around doing nothing. It is breathing into the unseen. It is keeping your heart alive while the outer world remains still. The mind hates waiting because it loses control. The mind wants guarantees, schedules, proof. But life is not a machine. It is a living river, and its currents cannot be forced. When you try to control timing, you create frustration, bitterness, despair. When you surrender to timing, you create openness, resilience, and hidden strength. Think about the times in your life when something you desperately wanted didn't happen on your schedule. Maybe it was love. Maybe it was success. Maybe it was healing. You raged, you cried, you doubted. But later, when the pieces finally fell into place, when the right door finally opened, you saw it. The waiting was not wasted. The delay protected you. The delay matured you. The delay prepared the ground so that when the blessing arrived, you were able to hold it without destroying it. Life delays what would harm you if given too soon. Life delays what would overwhelm you if delivered before your inner roots were deep enough to support it. Life delays what would have fed your ego instead of feeding your soul. Delay is not cruelty. It is protection. It is grace disguised as emptiness. The mirror of delay forces you to see where you have placed your worth. If you cannot be happy unless your goals are met on time, then your happiness was never free. It was chained to conditions. True freedom is being able to stand in the middle of the unknown and still feel your own breath. True strength is being able to say, even in the absence of results, I am whole. I am enough. I am alive. Patience trains you to love the process more than the prize. It trains you to find meaning in the journey itself, not just in the trophy at the end. It teaches you that who you become while waiting is more important than what you eventually receive. Without patience, success becomes a hollow victory. Without patience, love becomes another possession. Without patience, healing becomes another achievement to brag about instead of a real transformation. The waiting is where character is formed. The waiting is where faith is tested and strengthened. The waiting is where you learn to surrender without giving up. To trust without needing constant evidence. To breathe without guarantees. Patience is active, not passive. It demands presence. It demands attention to the small things. It demands that you live fully even when the big things remain unfinished. Patience asks you to find beauty in the partial, in the broken, in the in-between. It asks you to stop measuring your worth by how fast you climb and start measuring it by how deeply you love while standing still. Every period of waiting plants new seeds inside you, seeds of resilience, seeds of clarity, seeds of compassion. The longer the waiting, the deeper the roots. The deeper the roots, the higher the tree can grow when the time finally comes. Without delay, you would sprout too fast, wither too easily, fall with the first strong wind. The mirror of delay also reveals your attachments. If you can only feel joy when specific outcomes appear, then you are not free. You are a prisoner of circumstances. Patience teaches you to anchor your joy in something deeper, in the act of living itself, in the silent knowing that you are being carried even when you can't see the currents. Think of the greatest trees you have ever seen, the ones that tower silently over everything. Their power is invisible. Their strength lies not in their visible branches, but in the roots spread deep and wide underground. Those roots took years to grow, years of unseen work, years of silent, patient expansion beneath the surface. And when the storms came, it was not the tallest trees that survived. It was the trees with the deepest roots. Delay is building your roots. Delay is deepening your unseen strength. Delay is preparing you to hold blessings that shallow foundations could never sustain. In a world addicted to speed, patience feels like death. Everything tells you to hurry. Everything tells you that faster is better. Achieve quickly, love quickly, heal quickly. But true life laughs at speed. True life values depth over speed, integrity over appearances, substance over sparkle. Patience demands humility. It demands admitting that you are not the master of time, that there are forces at work larger than your personal will, that life has its own intelligence, its own rhythms, its own seasons. When you surrender to that, you do not become weak. You become aligned. You stop wasting energy fighting the flow. You start moving with it, trusting it to carry you exactly where you need to go. When you practice patience, you become a quiet revolutionary. In a world that screams for instant gratification, you choose depth. In a culture obsessed with results, you choose presence. In a society drunk on speed, you choose the ancient wisdom of slow growth, of unseen preparation, of silent unfolding. And the rewards of patience are not small, they are enormous. When the right door finally opens, it stays open. When the right love finally arrives, it nourishes instead of drains. When the right calling finally blossoms, it fits your soul like a second skin. Nothing forced, nothing stolen, nothing hollow, everything real, everything earned. The mirror of delay is harsh because it shows you how much of your suffering is created by your own impatience, how much pain you add by demanding life move on your schedule. But it also shows you the secret door. When you stop demanding and start trusting, the waiting itself becomes holy. The waiting itself becomes sacred ground where miracles are quietly forming. Patience does not mean giving up on your dreams. It means holding them lightly, trusting that if they are true dreams, they will ripen in their own perfect time. Trusting that if they fall away, it is because something even more aligned is being prepared for you. Life is not ignoring you. Life is not punishing you. Life is ripening you. Life is building the capacity inside you to receive what you asked for without being crushed by it. And sometimes that building process takes longer than your mind would like. You are being prepared for the life you cannot yet handle. You are being strengthened for the blessings that would break a weaker version of you. You are being deepened for a love, a calling, a freedom that requires your fullest, strongest self. Waiting teaches you that you are already enough even before the blessings arrive, that you are already worthy even when your hands are empty, that you are already whole even when the world tells you to hurry up and prove your value. The patience you practice today will become the stability you stand on tomorrow. The trust you cultivate in the silence will become the wisdom that carries you when the storms come. The depth you build in the unseen seasons will become the light you shine when it's finally your time to rise. Stay with it. Stay soft. Stay open. Because just like seeds breaking open underground, just like roots spreading unseen beneath the earth, just like stars forming in the dark belly of the universe. Your life is blooming in ways you cannot yet see. And when the time comes, not your time, but life's perfect time, everything you have been waiting for will unfold with a power and a grace that makes the waiting more than worth it. Waiting teaches you to trust the unseen, but there is another test even sharper, even harder to swallow. It is the test of regret. The mistakes you made, the paths you wish you hadn't walked, the words you wish you could take back, they rise like ghosts from your past, whispering that you failed, that you ruined something precious, that you are too broken to fix. But what if regret itself is not a failure? What if it is part of the awakening you came here to live? What if even your worst mistakes happened not to destroy you, but to ripen you for a truth you could not have reached any other way? The cosmic timing of regret shows that mistakes do not happen randomly. They happen exactly when they must. They happen when the old self must die, but the new self has not yet been born. They happen at the crossroads between ignorance and wisdom, when the soul, exhausted from pretending, finally stumbles into a new kind of seeing. Regret feels like punishment because it pierces so deeply. It shows you your blindness, your selfishness, your pride, your fear. It shows you the damage you caused, the opportunities you wasted, the love you betrayed. But underneath the shame, underneath the grief, underneath the self-condemnation, something else is moving, the birth of awareness. Mistakes are scheduled for when you are most ready to see what you could not see before. They are timed not to destroy your life, but to shatter the illusions that kept you trapped. Without mistakes, your ego would stay swollen and blind. Without mistakes, you would keep walking the wrong paths, clinging to wrong dreams, building a life out of hollow victories. Mistakes interrupt the momentum of falsehood. They collapse the towers built on sand. When you look back at your life, you can trace the arc of your real growth, not through your successes, but through your failures. It was not the achievements that taught you humility. It was the humiliations. It was not the easy wins that taught you compassion. It was the times you hurt others and had to live with the weight of it. It was not the smooth paths that deepened your wisdom. It was the crooked, broken roads you swore you would never survive. The pain of regret is not there to crush you. It is there to carve out the space for a deeper, truer self to emerge. Without regret, your heart would stay shallow. Without regret, your understanding of love would remain small. Without regret, your empathy for the struggles of others would be thin and hollow. Terrible decisions often come when you are outgrowing an old self, but have not yet learned how to step into the new one. You reach for what you think will save you: status, pleasure, approval, control, but it fails you. And in that failure, you are forced to confront the truth, that what you were chasing was never real, never enough, never yours to begin with. Regret opens your eyes by breaking your heart. It shows you what you valued too cheaply, what you ignored too easily, what you betrayed too quickly. It holds up a mirror not to shame you, but to wake you. It forces you to feel what you made others feel. It forces you to see the ripples of your unconsciousness. And in that seeing, you are no longer who you were. You are cracked open. You are softened. You are changed. There is a mercy hidden inside regret. It does not erase the past, but it transforms the future. It gives you the chance to move differently, to speak more carefully, to love more fully. It hands you the broken pieces of your old self and invites you to build something truer, something kinder, something deeper. Mistakes hurt most when they betray your own deepest values. When you act against your own heart, when you betray your own knowing, the regret that follows is fierce because it is not just about what you did to others. It is about what you did to yourself. You broke your own soul's trust. And the road back is hard, but it is sacred. Every step you take toward realignment, toward honesty, toward redemption, strengthens you in ways success never could. The cosmic timing of regret also shows that not all mistakes are meant to be avoided. Some mistakes are necessary initiations. They strip you of arrogance. They humble your certainties. They expose the fragility of your masks. They invite you into a deeper relationship with reality, one where perfection is not the goal, but presence is. One where you stop trying to be flawless and start trying to be real. Regret teaches you the difference between guilt and responsibility. Guilt freezes you in self-hatred. Responsibility moves you toward repair. Guilt says, I am bad. Responsibility says, I made a mistake and I will do better. Guilt keeps you stuck in shame. Responsibility opens the door to healing, for yourself and for others. You cannot erase your mistakes. You cannot undo the harm, but you can transform the meaning of what happened. You can choose to become someone who carries the lessons with humility and kindness. You can choose to live in a way that honors the pain you caused by refusing to pass it forward. This is why the timing of regret matters. You feel the weight of your actions when you are finally strong enough to bear it. You see the truth when you are finally ready to act differently. The timing is not random. It is tailored to your soul's capacity for awakening. When you were younger, you made mistakes from blindness, from fear, from desperation. Now, the regret you feel is a sign of growth. It is a sign that you are no longer willing to live unconsciously. It is a sign that you are waking up. Some mistakes you will carry for a lifetime, not as burdens, but as sacred scars. They will remind you where you came from. They will remind you how precious trust is, how fragile love is, how dangerous unconsciousness is. They will make you more tender with the brokenness of others. They will make you more careful with your words, your promises, your presence. You can rage against your past mistakes. You can drown in the bitterness of what could have been, or you can bow to them. Thank them for what they taught you. Thank them for tearing down the false self you clung to. Thank them for setting you on a path toward truth, even if the journey began with a fall. The soul does not seek perfection. The soul seeks depth. The soul seeks truth. And mistakes are the chisels that carve depth and truth into the stone of your being. When you see regret not as a punishment, but as a scheduled awakening, you stop fearing failure. You stop pretending you are flawless. You stop clinging to a life sanitized of risks and mistakes. You live more fully. You dare more greatly. You love more fiercely, because you know that even if you stumble, even if you fall, life will use it. Life will shape it. Life will turn it into something beautiful if you let it. You are not defined by your worst mistakes. You are defined by how you rise from them, how you learn from them, how you transform because of them. Regret is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It is your midwife into a larger, wiser, freer life. There are people you have hurt. There are choices you cannot undo. There are roads you cannot walk back. But there is a road forward. There is always a road forward. A road built not by denying the past, but by integrating it. A road paved with humility, forgiveness, courage, and a fierce commitment to live more awake. One day, you will look back at the regrets that haunt you now and see them differently. You will see them as sacred messengers. You will see them as doorways. You will see them as the fire that purified your soul. Until then, walk with your regrets tenderly. Let them break your heart without breaking your spirit. Let them teach you how to live with more love, more care, more reverence for this fragile, beautiful life. Mistakes break you open so you can begin to see your life more clearly. But even as regret carves its lessons into your heart, there are still deeper forces shaping your journey. Forces you may have no memory of. Some burdens seem too heavy for one lifetime. Some struggles feel strangely familiar, as if they have been following you from place to place, lifetime to lifetime, asking to be faced. And this is where the next truth reveals itself. Not all seeds were planted in this lifetime. Some are echoes from long before your current memory was born. The echoes of forgotten choices are the invisible threads connecting your present challenges to actions, decisions, and energies from lives you cannot recall, but that still ripple through you today. This isn't about blame. This isn't about punishment. It is about growth. It is about the soul's long journey toward wisdom, compassion, and freedom. A journey that stretches across more than one lifetime. There are pains that do not make sense if you look only at this life. There are losses too sharp, fears too deep, patterns too stubborn to be explained by childhood alone. You meet someone and feel an overwhelming connection or an unexplainable distrust. You face a struggle that feels ancient, as if it has been waiting for you. You carry dreams of places you have never visited, fears of events you have never endured. These are not accidents. They are the lingering vibrations of choices made long ago. In Buddhism, karma does not expire with death. It rolls forward, carrying seeds that will seek the right soil to ripen. Some seeds ripen quickly, within years. Others wait lifetimes. But they do not forget. They do not disappear. They circle back when the conditions are right, when your soul is strong enough to face them, when you have gathered enough wisdom to choose differently. Your present hardships might be the final echoes of unfinished lessons, the last threads of old contracts waiting to be dissolved. You are not being punished. You are being given the rare, sacred opportunity to close old chapters, to heal old wounds, to free yourself from cycles older than memory. The soul craves completion. It craves wholeness, and so it draws to itself the exact circumstances needed to untangle the knots left behind. The betrayal you suffer now might be the mirror of a betrayal you once committed. The loneliness you endure now might be the echo of walls you once built to keep love out. The injustice you face now might be the final balancing of an old misuse of power. This is not meant to shame you. It is meant to empower you, Because if your life is shaped by echoes, then your choices today matter more than ever. Every act of forgiveness, every act of compassion, every act of courage not only changes this life, but sends ripples forward, healing patterns that stretch back through the centuries. You do not need to remember your past lives to heal them. You only need to stay awake to the lessons unfolding now. Every time you respond to pain with awareness instead of reaction, you are breaking an ancient cycle. Every time you choose kindness over fear, generosity over greed, trust over control, you are rewriting old stories that have bound you for lifetimes. Think of your life as a tapestry, woven not just from the threads of today, but from countless threads stretching back through time. Some threads are bright and strong, born of love and courage. Some are dark and tangled, born of fear and ignorance. Your work is not to resent the dark threads, but to weave them into something new, to transform them with conscious living. There is a profound mercy in the way life brings back these echoes. You are never given more than you can handle. The echoes return not to overwhelm you, but to give you the chance to heal in ways you could not before. They surface when your soul is ready, when your heart has enough tenderness, when your mind has enough strength to choose differently. And even if you fall again, even if you make the same mistakes, the opportunity is not lost. Life is patient. Karma is patient. The echoes will return as many times as needed, each time offering you another chance to wake up, to heal, to love more deeply. This understanding changes how you see your hardships. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this trying to heal through me? What old pain is seeking freedom through this experience? What ancient weight is asking to be lifted by the way I choose to respond now?" Sometimes the people who hurt you the most in this life are souls who once loved you deeply in another. Sometimes the battles you fight now are the aftermath of wars you once waged. Sometimes the gifts you carry, your talents, your insights, your deep compassion, are the flowering of seeds planted long, long ago. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is random. Every experience, every relationship, every struggle is part of a larger story, a longer journey, a deeper unfolding. And when you start to see your life through this wider lens, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances. You start seeing yourself as a conscious participant in an ancient dance of growth and healing. The echoes of forgotten choices also teach humility. You stop judging others so quickly. You realize that everyone is carrying invisible burdens, wrestling with old wounds, trying, and sometimes failing, to choose love over fear. You stop dividing the world into good people and bad people. You start seeing wounded people, awakening people, people at different stages of remembering who they really are. This humility opens the door to compassion. Compassion for yourself, compassion for others, compassion for the slow, messy, beautiful process of soul evolution. You are not here to be perfect. You are not here to never make mistakes. You are here to heal, to grow, to awaken. And healing is not a straight line. Growth is not tidy. Awakening is not clean. It is messy, chaotic, painful, miraculous. It moves in spirals, not straight lines. It revisits old wounds with new eyes, deeper understanding, greater tenderness. Sometimes you will be asked to forgive without an apology. Sometimes you will be asked to let go without closure. Sometimes you will be asked to love without guarantees. These are not tests of cruelty. They are opportunities for freedom. Every time you forgive, every time you release, every time you love without conditions, you loosen the grip of ancient karma. You break old chains. You set yourself and the whole river of life a little more free. The echoes of forgotten choices also explain why some of your deepest gifts feel effortless. Why certain skills, certain passions, certain kinds of wisdom seem to live in your bones. They are not new. They are not random. They are the fruits of work you did long ago, blooming now when the world needs them most. You are not starting from scratch. You are building on foundations laid across lifetimes. And the work you do now, the healing you embrace, the love you cultivate, the truth you speak, will ripple forward, carrying blessings to future lives you cannot yet imagine. Every act of courage matters. Every choice to forgive matters. Every step toward love matters, even when no one sees it, even when no one applauds it, even when it feels like nothing is changing. The universe sees, the soul sees, the echoes carry forward. Tonight, as you listen, know this: your struggles are not meaningless. Your hardships are not accidents. They are the echoes of a larger story seeking resolution through you. You are not being punished. You are being trusted with the work of healing, not just yourself, but generations of pain, layers of forgetting, rivers of longing. Your soul is old, your heart is wise, and you have everything you need to meet this moment with the dignity, the compassion, and the courage it deserves. The echoes of forgotten choices shape your life silently, but even as these invisible forces weave through your days, there remains one hidden battle that causes more suffering than any karmic burden ever could. It is not what happens to you that creates the deepest pain. It is your resistance to what happens. It is the part of you that clenches, that fights, that screams, "This should not be happening," even as life continues unfolding on its perfect, unstoppable course. Tonight, you will see that the true art of freedom lies not in controlling fate, but in learning how to stop resisting it. The art of non-resistance is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is the highest form of strength, the kind that looks life in the face, even when it brings devastation, and says, "I will not waste my life fighting what already is." Resistance magnifies suffering because it pits you against reality. It traps you in a war you can never win. You cannot unhappen the heartbreak. You cannot undo the betrayal. You cannot reverse the diagnosis, the loss, the closing of doors you desperately wanted to stay open. Fighting reality is like trying to swim upstream against a raging river. It exhausts you, it breaks you, and worst of all, it blinds you to the hidden blessings carried by the very events you are rejecting. Acceptance is not about loving pain. It is about stepping into alignment with the truth that what is, is. It is about saying yes to this moment, even if it is not the moment you wanted. It is about trusting that something bigger is at work, even if your mind cannot yet see the pattern. When you accept what is happening, you free up all the energy you were wasting on resistance. That energy can now flow into healing, into learning, into adapting, into creating. Acceptance does not shrink your power. It unlocks it. Think of a tree in a storm. The trees that try to stand rigid against the wind snap and break. The trees that bend, that move with the force instead of against it, survive. They are not weak. They are wise. They understand the nature of life is movement, change, impermanence. They flow with it instead of against it. This is the art of non-resistance. Every time you resist reality, you create a second layer of pain. The first pain is the event itself, the loss, the betrayal, the failure. The second pain is the story you tell about it. This should not have happened. This is unfair. This ruins everything. The first pain is inevitable. The second pain is optional. And the second pain often hurts far more and lasts far longer than the first. Non-resistance does not mean you feel nothing. It does not mean you pretend to be happy when you are heartbroken. It means you feel fully what is happening without adding the extra suffering of fighting it. You let grief move through you. You let rage burn and pass. You let fear rise and fall. You experience the emotions without becoming imprisoned by them. You become the space through which pain moves, not the prisoner locked inside it. When you resist, you freeze. You contract. You stop flowing with life. You cut yourself off from the river that could be carrying you to places you cannot yet imagine. Resistance traps you in the past. Acceptance opens the door to the future. Non-resistance also reveals hidden pathways. When you stop demanding that life fit your expectations, you begin to see new possibilities that were invisible before. A closed door no longer looks like the end of the road. It looks like a redirection. A loss no longer feels like pure devastation. It feels like a sacred clearing, making space for something you could not have found otherwise. Think about the times in your life when you finally let go of something you had been clinging to. A dream, a relationship, a version of yourself. Think about the strange peace that followed. Think about the unexpected gifts that showed up once you stopped fighting what life was trying to teach you. That peace, that clarity, that grace. They were always waiting for you on the other side of surrender. The art of non-resistance is the art of trust. Trust that you are not being punished. Trust that life knows what it is doing even when it shatters your plans. Trust that your soul came here not to cling to safety, but to grow into greatness. Trust that the very events you are trying to resist may be the ones that carry the keys to your next becoming. Resistance says, "This should not be happening." Acceptance says, "Since this is happening, how can I meet it with wisdom, courage, and grace?" Resistance shrinks your life into a constant battle. Acceptance expands your life into a sacred dance. Non-resistance also deepens compassion. When you accept your own pain without judgment, you become more capable of holding space for the pain of others. You stop needing to fix everything. You stop needing to force outcomes. You start trusting the timing, the unfolding, the deep wisdom operating beneath the chaos. There is a fierce beauty in surrendering to what is. It strips away the false belief that you were ever in control. It humbles you without humiliating you. It teaches you that real power is not domination, but alignment. Not forcing life to obey your will, but learning to flow with the currents of a much larger intelligence. Non-resistance also brings healing. The parts of you that are wounded, traumatized, afraid, they do not heal by being fought against. They heal by being welcomed, seen, accepted. When you stop resisting your own pain, your own fear, your own brokenness, you create the conditions for true transformation. You stop pouring salt into your wounds. You start allowing life to breathe through them, to cleanse them, to heal them. Acceptance does not mean you stop acting. It means you act from a place of clarity, not desperation. You still move, you still choose, you still create. But your actions are no longer fueled by panic, rage, or denial. They are fueled by a deeper wisdom, a steadier heart, a mind aligned with the flow of reality. This is why acceptance is not passive. It is the most active engagement with life there is. It says, I will not waste my life fighting what already is. I will meet reality as it comes. I will open my heart even to the parts that terrify me. I will trust that even this can be part of my awakening. When you master the art of non-resistance, you become unbreakable. Not because you are never hurt, but because you know that hurt is not the end of the story. Because you know that every ending carries a beginning inside it. Because you know that life does not destroy, life transforms. Non-resistance is not a feeling, it is a practice. You will not feel peaceful every time you surrender. Sometimes you will feel grief. Sometimes you will feel fear. Sometimes you will feel anger. But you will know, even through the emotion, that you are standing in truth, that you are standing in freedom, that you are no longer trapped in the exhausting war against life. Tonight, as you sit with the struggles you are carrying, know this: you are not failing because you feel pain. You are not weak because you are afraid. You are not broken because life has not gone the way you wanted. You are being asked to step into a larger, wilder trust. You are being asked to surrender not to despair, but to the deeper intelligence weaving your life into something more beautiful than your mind could design. You are being asked to stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. To stop resisting the river and start letting it carry you. To stop clenching your fists and start opening your hands. Learning to stop resisting life opens the door to a much greater discovery. Because once you stop fighting what happens, you start seeing what has been hidden inside your suffering all along. You begin to notice that pain was never empty. It was never meaningless. Buried deep inside every heartbreak, every failure, every loss, is something precious waiting to grow. Tonight you will see the hidden truth. The moments that shattered you were planting seeds of strength, compassion, and wisdom that you would one day need for a life bigger than the one you thought you were building. Painful moments are not dead ends. They are beginnings disguised as endings. They strip away the surface so that something deeper can take root. They break down false dreams so that truer ones can rise. They tear open the shell of who you thought you were so that who you really are can finally breathe. When you look back at the hardest seasons of your life, you will not just see the scars. You will also see the skills you gained without even realizing it. The resilience built in the nights you thought would never end. The compassion born in the moments when your own heart was breaking. The strength forged when you stood back up after being knocked down harder than you ever thought you could survive. The seeds planted in pain are slow to sprout. They grow underground first, unseen, feeding on your tears, your doubts, your silent prayers. They do not reveal themselves immediately. They need time. They need patience. They need the kind of nurturing that only comes from living with open hands and an open heart, even when it feels safer to close everything down. Pain teaches you things comfort never could. It teaches you how to keep breathing when every part of you wants to give up. It teaches you how to find beauty in the small things when the big things fall apart. It teaches you how to walk through the world with tenderness because you know what it feels like to be shattered. Without your pain, you would not be who you are becoming. Without your losses, you would not have the depth to carry the blessings that are coming. Without your heartbreaks, you would not have the eyes to see the sacredness of what remains. Pain does not just wound you. It shapes you. It sharpens you. It humbles you. And in doing so, it prepares you for missions you cannot yet see. There are strengths inside you now that were born from nights you cried alone. There is a wisdom in your bones that was forged in the fire of your mistakes. There is a kindness in your touch that grew because you know how it feels to be unseen, unheard, unloved. These gifts were not given to you easily. They were earned, and they are yours to carry forward, not as burdens, but as medicine for a world that desperately needs what only you can offer. Sometimes your greatest contribution to the world will not come from your successes. It will come from the way you carry your wounds, from the way you stay open even after being broken, from the way you choose to love even when you have every reason to harden. The seeds of promise hidden in painful moments do not bloom overnight. Sometimes they take years. Sometimes you will not recognize them until you are standing in a place you never expected to reach, using skills you never consciously learned, touching lives you never thought you could impact. Pain plants resilience. It teaches you that you can survive what you thought would kill you. It teaches you that your worth is not dependent on your circumstances. It teaches you that even when everything else is stripped away, something eternal remains inside you, something that cannot be taken, broken, or lost. Pain plants compassion. It breaks down the walls of judgment. It opens your heart to the struggles of others. It teaches you that you are not separate from the suffering of the world, but intimately woven into it. It teaches you that kindness is not weakness, but strength beyond measure. Pain plants clarity. It strips away illusions about what matters. It cuts through the noise of ambition and ego. It brings you back to the essentials: love, truth, connection, presence. It helps you see with new eyes, not the eyes of fear or greed, but the eyes of understanding. Pain plants purpose. It awakens you to the ways you can serve. It sharpens your sense of calling. It drives you to reach out, to lift others, to heal what you can, to leave the world a little softer than you found it. The world's greatest healers, artists, teachers, and leaders are not those who lived easy lives. They are those who were broken and rebuilt, those who walked through darkness and carried back light, those who fell and rose not once but 100 times, carrying the invisible seeds of their suffering as gifts for the rest of us. Your pain is not wasted. Your struggles are not meaningless. They are shaping you into a vessel strong enough to hold more love, more wisdom, more courage than you ever thought possible. Every time you stayed kind when you could have become bitter, you planted a seed. Every time you stayed soft when it would have been easier to harden, you planted a seed. Every time you kept walking when you wanted to collapse, you planted a seed. And these seeds are growing even now, even in the dark, even in the silence. There are gifts inside you waiting to be revealed. Gifts born from the very moments you thought would destroy you. They are not signs of weakness. They are proofs of your becoming. They are the invisible promises life made to you when you agreed to walk this human path, that every tear would water something sacred, that every scar would sketch the outline of a deeper beauty, that every breaking would make more space inside you for light. One day, perhaps when you least expect it, you will find yourself standing in a place that feels strangely familiar. A place where the strengths you grew in your darkest hours fit perfectly into the needs of the moment. A place where the lessons you learned through suffering become the exact tools needed to heal, to teach, to lead, to love. And you will know that none of it was wasted. None of it was random. None of it was meaningless. You will know that the seeds hidden in your pain were never dormant. They were waiting for you to be ready, waiting for the world to need exactly the kind of wisdom only you could bring. The seeds planted in your painful moments are not isolated accidents. They are part of something far larger, something that your mind struggles to see, but that your heart has always known. Because even when life feels broken, even when everything seems random or cruel, a deeper order is moving underneath. Nothing you have lived through is wasted. Nothing you have lost has been in vain. Tonight, you will step into a truth so vast and so humbling that once you see it, you will never walk through your life the same way again. Life is not a series of disconnected accidents. It is a grand choreography, a breathtaking dance of causes and effects, heartbreaks and healings, failures and awakenings, all woven together into a masterpiece too vast to be seen from the ground. When you are close to the pain, all you see is the sharpness of the break. All you feel is the sting of what has gone wrong. But if you could rise higher, if you could lift above the immediate moment, you would start to see the hidden threads tying everything together. The betrayal that forced you to find your own strength. The loss that stripped away your illusions so that real love could find you. The failure that shattered your pride and opened the door to a calling far more authentic than the one you first chased. Every step, every misstep, every tear has been part of a greater pattern, one that your soul has been weaving with infinite care. From the ground, it looks like chaos. From above, it is perfect symmetry. Life does not make mistakes. Life does not waste sorrow. Every heartbreak fits perfectly into a larger rhythm. Every disappointment is stitched into a wider design. Every delay, every detour, every collapse is part of the architecture of your becoming. The mind rebels against this truth because the mind wants linear progress. The mind wants predictable outcomes. The mind wants control. But the soul knows better. The soul moves in spirals, in cycles, in sacred patterns that often only make sense years later, sometimes only when the whole journey can be seen at once. Think about the biggest turning points in your life, the friendships that changed you, the loves that awakened you, the endings that freed you. How many of them came from plans you carefully made? How many of them arrived through the back door of heartbreak, disappointment, loss? The most important chapters of your story were not the ones you wrote with your conscious mind. They were the ones life wrote through you, sometimes with a pen dipped in sorrow, sometimes with a brushstroke of grace so subtle you didn't even recognize it at the time. The grand choreography moves not just through your personal life, but through the lives of everyone you meet. Every soul you encounter is part of the dance. Every meeting, every parting, every silent moment of recognition fits into the unfolding. Sometimes you are the one who offers a gift without knowing it. Sometimes you are the one who receives healing from a stranger. Sometimes you are the one who teaches through your presence, your patience, your willingness to stay kind, even when you have every reason to close your heart. You are not alone in this dance. You are not dancing blindly. You are being guided, not by an external force manipulating you, but by the deeper intelligence within you, the part of you that remembers what your surface mind has forgotten. This choreography is not designed for your comfort. It is designed for your awakening. It bends circumstances. It rearranges timelines. It weaves heartbreak and triumph together so that you can become the fullest version of yourself. It does not settle for making you happy for a moment. It aims to make you free forever. This is why things fall apart when you cling to what must be let go. This is why doors slam shut when you keep trying to walk down the wrong paths. This is why people leave when their part in your story is complete. Not because life is cruel, but because life is merciful beyond comprehension. Life loves you too much to let you stay where you are not meant to be. The grand choreography also explains the strange timing of events. Why opportunities come when you least expect them. Why people appear in your life at exactly the moment you need them. Why certain dreams wither so that better ones, the ones you didn't even know you carried, can take root. Timing is not random. Timing is sacred. Every delay, every rejection, every sudden change of direction is a realignment. It is life saying, not this way, not yet, not like this. It is life saying, trust me, I see the whole map, and you are only looking at one street corner. The deeper you trust this choreography, the more peace you feel even in the middle of chaos. Even when your plans collapse, you know something wiser is unfolding. Even when your heart breaks, you know something truer is rising. Even when you lose your way, you trust that life has not lost its way with you. Trusting the grand choreography does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean sitting still and waiting for life to happen. It means dancing with what life offers you, responding to the music you hear, even when the melody changes unexpectedly. It means saying yes to the openings, and yes to the closings, and yes to the pauses in between. It means living with your heart open, even when you are afraid. It means forgiving, even when you have no closure. It means creating beauty, even when the world feels ugly. It means trusting that every step you take, even the stumbling ones, are part of a larger rhythm, moving you exactly where you need to go. When you surrender to this choreography, you become a co-creator with life. You stop fighting the tempo. You stop resisting the changes in music. You start moving with grace through every transition, every twist, every unexpected turn. And life responds to that trust. Life reveals new pathways. Life offers new partners for the dance. Life opens doors that were invisible before because now you are aligned with its deeper current. The grand choreography also teaches you to forgive yourself, to stop punishing yourself for not seeing sooner, for not moving faster, for not choosing better. From the higher view, even your so-called mistakes were part of the dance. Even your detours taught you something essential. Even your darkest nights shaped you into someone capable of greater light. There is no wasted step, no wasted tear, no wasted dream. Everything has been used. Everything has been woven into the story that only you can live, the song that only you can sing, the love that only you can give. Tonight, as you sit with the story of your life, know this: you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are right on time. You are exactly where you need to be for the next step of the dance to unfold. Even the heartbreak you carry tonight fits perfectly into the choreography. Even the confusion you feel tonight is part of the turning. Even the unanswered prayers are part of the larger prayer being answered in a way your mind cannot yet see. Trusting the grand choreography teaches you to see that nothing in your life has been random, but even with that trust, there is a kind of heartbreak that cuts deeper than almost anything else. The heartbreak of failure. The moments when your dreams collapse, when your plans fall apart, when everything you poured your heart into crumbles before your eyes. Those moments feel like betrayal. They feel like proof that you are lost, that you are unworthy, that you are somehow falling behind in a race you were meant to win. But what if those failures were not the end of your path? What if they were the path, only wearing a disguise your mind could not recognize? Failure hurts because it shatters the image you built of how life was supposed to be. It strips away the fantasies of control, the comforting illusions of certainty. It breaks the story you were clinging to about who you are, what you deserve, where you are going. And in that breaking, a deeper truth is waiting to be born. A truth that was buried beneath your expectations, hidden behind the smaller dreams you thought were the destination. When the path disguises itself as failure, it is not trying to destroy you. It is trying to reroute you. It is trying to move you away from dreams too small for the soul you are becoming. It is trying to break attachments to outcomes that would have limited you, trapped you, drained you. It is trying to wake you up to possibilities you could never have seen from inside the old story you were living. Think about the times when you failed hardest, the job you lost, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers. At first, it felt like death. It felt like a door slamming so hard that the whole world shook. But later, sometimes much later, you could see that door needed to close. You could see that what you were chasing would not have fulfilled you, would not have honored you, would not have led you where your deeper life was waiting. Failure does not mean you are unworthy. Failure does not mean you are off course. Failure often means life is intervening before you waste years climbing a ladder, leaning against the wrong wall. Failure often means you are being spared a deeper suffering you cannot yet see. Failure often means you are being prepared for a dream bigger than the one you were brave enough to name. The mind defines success in narrow terms: achievement, approval, recognition, security. But the soul defines success differently. For the soul, Success means growth. Success means awakening. Success means aligning with the deeper currents of life. And sometimes, the only way to realign a soul that is drifting is to let the surface life collapse. You are not being punished when you fail. You are being redirected. You are being invited into a deeper relationship with yourself, with life, with truth. The collapse of the old dreams creates space for something real to enter, something not built from fear or ego or the desperate need to prove your worth, but built from your actual essence, your true calling, your authentic heart. The pain of failure is real. The grief is real. The fear is real. Feel it all. Honor it all. But do not let it define you. Do not let it convince you that your life is broken. Your life is not broken. It is being remade. The most important opportunities of your life often hide behind doors labeled failure. The relationships that truly nourish your soul often arrive after the ones you thought would save you fall apart. The work that truly fulfills you often emerges after the careers you built your identity on collapse. The freedom you secretly longed for often blooms only after the structures you depended on crumble. When the path disguises itself as failure, it is asking you to trust not the map you drew, but the compass inside you. It is asking you to walk forward even when you cannot see where the road leads. It is asking you to believe that even in the ruins, seeds are being planted. Even in the ashes, something sacred is rising. The stories of transformation that move the world are not stories of uninterrupted success. They are stories of falling and rising, of losing and finding, of breaking and becoming. They are stories of people who dared to trust the path even when it betrayed their plans, even when it shattered their dreams, even when it left them standing alone in the wilderness with nothing but their own heartbeat for company. And it is there, in that wilderness, that the real path reveals itself. Not the path you planned, but the path you were made for. Not the path your mind clung to, but the path your soul has been longing to walk. The disguise of failure strips away the masks you wore to survive. It strips away the attachments you mistook for love. It strips away the identities you built to earn approval. And what is left, after the storm has passed, is something fierce and tender and unbreakable. What is left is the real you. The real you is not defined by how many dreams came true. The real you is not measured by how few mistakes you made. The real you is defined by how you rise after falling, by how you love after losing, by how you stay open after breaking. Failure humbles you. It teaches you that you are not in control. It teaches you that you cannot force life to bend to your will. But it also teaches you that you are stronger than you ever knew. It teaches you that you can survive endings. It teaches you that you can begin again and again and again without losing the best parts of yourself. When you start to see failure not as the end, but as a sacred detour, you stop fearing it. You stop avoiding risks just to protect your pride. You stop settling for safe lives that starve your soul. You start daring more, loving more, living more. You realize that failing does not make you a failure. Refusing to grow from failure is the only true defeat. And you refuse to be defeated. You refuse to let heartbreak close your heart. You refuse to let loss harden your soul. You refuse to let fear shrink your dreams. You start walking the real path, the one paved not with trophies, but with tears, the one marked not by applause, but by quiet moments of realness, the one lined not with guarantees, but with mystery, wonder, and the steady beating of your own awakened heart. And somewhere down that road, perhaps sooner than you expect, you will look back and bless the failures that once broke you. You will see that they were not detours, they were shortcuts to your true life. You will see that what you thought was the end was actually the beginning of everything real. When you finally understand that even failure is a hidden doorway to your real path, something even more humbling begins to stir inside you. A quiet suspicion that maybe life has always been more organized, more deliberate, more sacred than you ever dared to believe. Maybe it's not just random pain followed by random blessings. Maybe it's not chaos occasionally interrupted by luck. Maybe, before you ever opened your first breath into this world, there were agreements made, sacred promises woven into the fabric of your soul, outlining the lessons you would encounter, the people you would meet, the heartbreaks and healings that would shape you into who you came here to become. The idea of hidden contracts, soul agreements made before birth, invites you to see your entire life with new eyes. Every friend who saved you, every enemy who broke you, every love that opened you, every betrayal that shattered you, none of them accidents, none of them random. Every major event, every deep relationship, every devastating loss, perhaps all chosen with a wisdom far beyond the surface understanding of your human mind. It is almost too much to hold at first. To think that the parents you struggled with, the lovers who left you, the friends who walked away, the teachers who believed in you when you didn't even believe in yourself, that all of them may have agreed in some timeless space beyond memory to meet you here, to play their roles, to trigger your awakening. Not because life is cruel, but because the soul's growth often demands experiences the mind would never willingly choose. The hidden contracts are not written in punishment. They are written in love, fierce love, love so deep it agrees to hurt when necessary. Love so strong it agrees to be the villain in your story if that's what your soul needs to break free. Some souls agree to lift you, to support you, to show you what unconditional love feels like. Others agree to push you, to betray you, to awaken your strength by first breaking your illusions. Both are sacred. Both are necessary. Both are acts of love from a vantage point far beyond the small games of personality and pride. This doesn't mean you are powerless. This doesn't mean you have no choice. Free will and destiny dance together, shaping each moment. The contracts set the stage, but how you respond, how you choose to love, to forgive, to grow, to heal, that is always yours. Think of it like this. The agreements determine the themes, the major players, the pivotal moments. But you still get to write the dialogue. You still get to choose whether you respond with bitterness or grace, fear or courage, vengeance or compassion. Seeing life through the lens of hidden contracts transforms blame into understanding. The father who abandoned you may have agreed to play that role to force you to find inner stability. The lover who betrayed you may have agreed to awaken your self-worth. The friend who turned against you may have agreed to teach you discernment. This understanding does not excuse harm. It does not mean you must keep toxic people in your life. It does not mean you accept abuse. It means you recognize the deeper layers moving beneath the surface, and from that recognition, you reclaim your power. Because when you understand that even the hardest experiences were part of a larger, wiser plan, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of life. You start seeing yourself as a participant in a sacred unfolding. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What was I meant to awaken through this?" The hidden contracts also explain why some relationships feel instantly familiar, why some people feel like home even when you just met them, why certain encounters crack your heart open in ways you cannot explain. These are not first meetings. These are reunions. These are soul agreements, echoing across time and space, fulfilling promises made before either of you remembered how much it would hurt and how much it would heal. And it is not only the joyful reunions that matter. The hardest relationships are often the deepest contracts, the ones that stretch you, challenge you, force you to grow in ways you would never have chosen on your own. Sometimes the soul that hurts you the most is the soul that loves you enough to play the role you would hate, if that's what it takes to wake you up. You can start to see your life as a vast, intricate web of meetings and partings, beginnings and endings, each one perfectly timed, perfectly placed, perfectly calibrated for your evolution. The boss who fired you when you felt like a failure, the child who challenged you beyond your limits, the stranger whose kindness saved you on a day you were ready to give up. Every one of them, sacred threads woven into your story. When you trust in these hidden agreements, you move differently through the world. You meet new people with more curiosity and less fear. You forgive more easily. You release bitterness more quickly. You hold grief more tenderly, knowing that even the deepest losses are not final endings, but sacred transitions. You start to recognize that your soul is in conversation with the souls of everyone around you, sometimes through words, often through silence, always through presence. Every encounter, every conflict, every moment of connection is part of a larger dialogue the mind can barely comprehend. The hidden contracts also teach you to trust your instincts. Sometimes you will feel drawn to people without knowing why. Sometimes you will feel repelled without a logical reason. Trust that. Your soul remembers what your mind forgets. Your soul recognizes the echoes of old agreements, the stirrings of unfinished business, the calling to complete what was begun long ago. Not every agreement is meant to last a lifetime. Some are brief but powerful. Some come into your life to ignite a transformation and then leave when their part is done. Learning to let go without resentment, to bless what came and what left, is part of honoring the sacredness of the contracts. And what about the agreements you cannot understand yet? The losses that still feel senseless? The betrayals that still sting too deeply? Trust that understanding will come. Maybe not today, maybe not even in this lifetime, but every thread will eventually reveal its place in the larger tapestry. You are not just living this life for yourself. You are fulfilling promises made to others, weaving your piece into a story so much larger, so much richer, so much more beautiful than you can yet see. Tonight, as you sit with the relationships that have shaped you, know this: the souls who lifted you and the souls who hurt you both answered the same call, to help you remember who you are. And if you can bless even the ones who broke you, if you can hold even the painful chapters with gratitude, you will free yourself from the small story of victim and step into the larger story of conscious evolution. Understanding the hidden contracts that shape your life softens your heart toward the pain and the blessings alike. But even with this awareness, a persistent ache sometimes remains. A low hum of dissatisfaction that no success, no relationship, no achievement seems to fully silence. It rises in the quiet hours, in the spaces between distractions, whispering that there is something more, something deeper, something still waiting to be lived. Tonight you will see what most people spend their lives trying to escape. That this dissatisfaction is not a flaw, not a curse, not a failure. It is a sacred compass. It is the voice of your soul, pulling you toward the destiny you were born to remember. The whisper of dissatisfaction is often mistaken for weakness. It is often misdiagnosed as ingratitude, as restlessness, as immaturity. People tell you to be content, to be grateful, to settle down and accept what you have. And gratitude is beautiful, essential even. But gratitude does not mean denying the deeper call rising inside you. Gratitude means loving what is, while still honoring the whisper that says, "You are not finished yet. You have not touched the fullness of your life yet. There is more." That whisper is not a mistake. It is a map. It is the soul's way of guiding you toward experiences, callings, awakenings that your surface mind cannot yet articulate. It stirs when you are living too small. It burns when you are staying in places you have outgrown. It aches when you are clinging to identities, roles, and dreams that no longer match the truth unfolding within you. The dissatisfaction is not against you. It is for you. It is the fire that refuses to let you settle for half a life. It is the pull that keeps you searching when everything in the world tells you to stop. It is the pressure that breaks the shell around your deeper self so that the real life inside you can be born. When you ignore the whisper, it grows louder. It turns into chronic frustration, depression, a feeling of numbness or rage that you cannot explain. Your soul will not let you abandon your true path without a fight. It will haunt your comfortable cages. It will flood your quiet moments. It will leak into your dreams. It will ache inside your bones until you listen. Listening to the whisper of dissatisfaction requires courage, because it often demands that you leave the safety of what you know. It demands that you question the stories you were given about what success looks like, what love should feel like, what life is supposed to be. It demands that you walk into the unknown without guarantees. And yet, every time you honor the whisper, even in small ways, life responds. Doors you could not have seen begin to open. Strengths you forgot you had begin to stir. Allies you did not know were watching begin to appear. Life supports the soul brave enough to follow the thread of longing. The whisper of dissatisfaction is not there to torture you. It is there to keep you awake. It is there to protect you from living a life that looks good on the outside but feels hollow inside. It is there to remind you that you were not born just to survive. You were born to come alive. Sometimes the whisper pulls you toward a new vocation, a new form of creativity, a new way of serving the world. Sometimes it pulls you out of relationships that no longer honor your growth. Sometimes it pulls you into loneliness, into silence, into the wilderness of not knowing, not to punish you, but to empty you of old attachments so that a truer life can find you. The world fears dissatisfaction because it challenges the systems built on comfort and conformity. But the soul reveres dissatisfaction because it is the birthplace of evolution. Every great act of creation, every revolution of the heart, every breakthrough of spirit began with someone refusing to silence the whisper inside them. You are not wrong to feel restless. You are not broken because you want more. You are not ungrateful because you refuse to shrink your life to fit the mold others set for you. You are alive. You are listening. You are awakening. The dissatisfaction does not mean you hate your life. It means you love yourself enough to seek a life that fits who you are becoming. It means you trust that the life you dream of is not a fantasy, but a future memory calling you forward. There will be people who do not understand your restlessness. There will be people who see your longing as weakness, as rebellion, as irresponsibility. Let them misunderstand. You are not living their life. You are answering your soul, and your soul knows things your mind does not yet grasp. Your soul knows the mission you came here to fulfill. Your soul knows the gifts you came here to give. Your soul knows the love you came here to experience and to offer. Trust it. The whisper of dissatisfaction also teaches you patience, because it does not always reveal the next step immediately. It asks you to stay in the ache, to stay in the longing, to trust that even when you cannot see the full map, you are still moving. There will be seasons when all you can do is breathe through the ache, stay faithful to the longing, and trust that life is aligning the pieces you cannot yet see. There will be days when the whisper feels like a curse because it will not let you settle for easy answers or half-truths. Trust those days most of all. They are the labor pains of your next becoming. You do not need to have all the answers yet. You do not need to know exactly where you are going. You only need to stay faithful to the call, to honor the dissatisfaction as sacred, to treat it not as a problem to fix, but as a teacher to learn from. Ask the whisper what it wants to show you. Ask your longing what it is trying to reveal. Listen in the quiet. Listen in the pauses. Listen beneath the noise of fear and doubt. The answers are there, waiting, growing, unfolding. And when the path begins to appear, when the next step flickers into view like a distant lantern in the dark, have the courage to take it. Even if it leads you into uncertainty, even if it asks you to leave behind everything you thought you needed, even if it asks you to risk everything safe for something infinitely more real. Because the dissatisfaction will not leave you until you are living the life you were born for. Not a life that looks impressive to others, not a life that fits neatly into society's expectations, a life that feels true in your bones, a life that stretches your soul into its fullest shape, a life that fills your heart with the quiet, fierce knowing, this is why I came here. Following the whisper of longing teaches you to trust the deeper compass inside you, but even when you honor it, even when you step courageously onto the new paths it reveals, there remains a mystery even harder to accept. Some dreams are never fulfilled. Some questions never get answers. Some stories never find their perfect ending. There are doors that stay closed no matter how hard you knock. There are loves that slip away no matter how deeply you feel them. There are gifts you want to offer that the world never seems ready to receive. Tonight, you will see the tender, difficult truth that some things are meant to remain unfinished. And far from being a failure, this incompleteness is a sacred gift designed to ripen you beyond the shallow definitions of success you once believed would satisfy you. The longing that never fully resolves is not a punishment. It is a teacher. It stretches you, it softens you, it keeps you open to something larger than your personal agenda. It prevents you from shrinking your soul to fit inside the limited victories the world celebrates. It keeps you moving, seeking, growing long after smaller goals have been achieved. The human mind craves closure. It wants neat endings, clear conclusions, trophies to put on shelves. But the soul is not looking for trophies. The soul is looking for depth, for surrender, for transformation. And sometimes the only way to reach those deeper places is through longing that refuses to be satisfied, through stories that remain half-written, through dreams that forever stay just out of reach. The incompleteness is not a mistake. It is intentional. It is the gentle pressure that keeps your heart open, the quiet ache that keeps you humble, the unanswered prayer that keeps you in conversation with life instead of retreating into certainty. When a dream dies unfinished, it leaves behind a space inside you, a space not for bitterness, but for deeper listening. When a relationship ends before you were ready, it tears open a tenderness that would have remained hidden had everything ended neatly. When a calling feels delayed or impossible, it presses you into new kinds of patience, new kinds of strength, new kinds of trust. The unfinished teaches you that you are not in control, and that this is not a tragedy, but a doorway into liberation. It teaches you that you are not defined by what you complete, but by how you live while waiting, while grieving, while hoping, while surrendering. Some loves are meant to awaken you, not to stay. Some dreams are meant to ignite you, not to materialize. Some callings are meant to pull you forward, shaping your becoming, even if you never cross the finish line you once imagined. When you learn to live with incompleteness, you stop measuring your worth by external achievements. You stop chasing finality. You start valuing presence over performance. You start honoring the beauty of the journey itself, not just the destinations you may never reach. You begin to see that the longing itself is holy, the ache itself is sacred, the incompleteness itself is an invitation into deeper intimacy with life. You stop needing life to explain itself to you. You stop demanding guarantees. You start living inside the questions, breathing inside the mystery, trusting that not everything needs to be wrapped up to have value. Think of the most powerful works of art, the most moving songs, the most unforgettable stories. Often it is their incompleteness, their open-endedness, their unanswered longing that makes them stay alive inside you long after the final note, the final word. Life is a masterpiece, painted with strokes both bold and unfinished. You are not here to tie up every thread. You are here to participate in the weaving, to add your color, your texture, your longing, even if you never see the final tapestry. Incompleteness humbles you. It reminds you that you are part of a larger story, one whose ending you do not control. It invites you to find joy not in conquering life, but in dancing with it, even when the music shifts, even when the steps falter. The longing that persists inside you is not evidence of failure. It is evidence of your aliveness. It is the thread that keeps you connected to the infinite. It is the part of you that refuses to settle for what is easy or safe or shallow. It is the part of you that insists there must be more, and there is. Sometimes the gift of incompleteness is that it keeps you seeking a deeper kind of fulfillment, a kind of peace that cannot be taken away by circumstances, a kind of joy that does not depend on success, a kind of love that does not vanish when stories end without neat conclusions. The longing shapes you. It enlarges your heart. It refines your soul. It teaches you how to hold space for ambiguity, for impermanence, for the bittersweet beauty of being human. Without incompleteness, you would stop growing. Without longing, you would stop reaching. Without unanswered prayers, you would settle for a life too small for the vastness you are capable of becoming. The stories that remain unfinished in your life are not blemishes on your record. They are fingerprints of the divine, marks of a soul still alive, still open, still seeking, still becoming. And when you meet others who carry their own unfinished stories, their own unfulfilled dreams, their own quiet aches, you will recognize them. You will see in them the same sacred longing that moves through you. And you will meet them not with judgment or pity, but with deep, tender understanding, because you know that to be human is to live inside stories that may never find completion, to love things you cannot keep, to dream dreams you may never realize, to offer your heart again and again to a life that offers no promises except this, that the journey itself is holy, that the reaching itself is sacred, that the longing itself is enough. Tonight, as you sit with the dreams still stirring inside you, know this: you are not late. You are not lost. You are not failing because the ending has not come. You are right on time. You are exactly where you need to be. The longing you carry is shaping you into someone capable of touching depths most people never dare to explore. Learning to live with the beauty of incompleteness softens your grip on life, but there is another lesson, even sharper, waiting just beneath the surface of every missed chance and every wrong turn. It is the lesson that timing, even when it feels cruel, even when it feels like betrayal, is never wrong. It is precise, it is merciful, it is part of a perfection too vast for the mind to grasp when standing in the middle of loss. Tonight, you will step into the deeper truth, that missing an opportunity, facing rejection, or falling behind is sometimes not a failure at all, but an act of preservation, a secret protection steering you toward a better destiny that you would not have chosen if life had left you in charge. Wrong timing hurts because it crashes against your expectations. You planned, you worked, you dreamed, and still the door stayed closed. Still, the offer slipped away. Still, the life you thought you were building unraveled before your eyes. It feels personal. It feels unfair. But the soul sees a longer timeline than the mind can comprehend. The soul sees the dangers hidden behind early success, the heartbreaks disguised beneath perfect opportunities, the betrayals woven into paths that looked golden from the outside. Every no, every delay, every collapse carries an unseen mercy. Life is not trying to break your spirit. Life is trying to save it. Life is trying to align you with a future so much deeper, so much truer, so much more fitted to your real essence than the one you thought you needed. The mind wants speed. The mind wants now. The mind wants linear progression from desire to fulfillment. But the soul moves differently. The soul values readiness over speed. The soul values depth over immediacy. The soul values true alignment over superficial achievement. There are dreams you thought you were ready for that would have crushed you if they had arrived too soon. There are loves you begged for that would have drained your spirit if they had stayed. There are successes you prayed for that would have built prisons instead of freedom. There are places you wanted to reach that would have led you further from your real path had you arrived when you first tried. Wrong timing is not rejection. Wrong timing is redirection. It is the fierce kindness of life saying, not yet, or even better, not this. Something truer is coming, something more enduring, something more real. The perfection of wrong timing protects you from building your life around hollow victories. It shields you from relationships rooted in fear. It saves you from stepping into futures that would have demanded the sacrifice of your deeper self. And yet, to trust this requires the courage to let your dreams die without letting your hope die. It requires the strength to keep walking even when every plan collapses. It requires the humility to admit that you do not always know what is best for you. Trusting the perfection of wrong timing does not mean you stop dreaming. It means you hold your dreams lightly. You release the desperate grasping. You allow life to edit, to refine, to redirect you in ways you would never choose but will one day bless. Think about the times you were delayed against your will, the job you didn't get, the move that fell through, the opportunity that vanished. At first, it felt like failure, but later, sometimes much later, you saw the wisdom, you saw the danger you were spared, you saw the better door that opened because the first one stayed shut. Life is weaving patterns too intricate for your surface mind to track. Life is moving pieces into place that will one day click together with breathtaking clarity. Life is shaping you in ways that only make sense when you look back from a distance you do not have yet. When you trust the perfection of wrong timing, you stop rushing. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop treating life like a race you are losing. You begin to understand that no one is ahead of you, no one is behind you. Everyone is simply walking their own winding path, unfolding at the pace that their soul requires. Your timing is not wrong. Your path is not broken. Your pace is not a mistake. The dreams that belong to you cannot be stolen by delays. The love that belongs to you cannot be lost by distance. The calling that belongs to you cannot be erased by detours. Everything real endures. The only thing that truly falls away when timing does not match your plans is what was never fully yours to begin with. Wrong timing teaches you trust in a way success never could. It teaches you how to keep your heart open without guarantees. It teaches you how to stay faithful to your deeper vision even when the world tells you to give up. It teaches you how to build your life on inner knowing instead of outer validation. And that trust, that faithfulness, that steadiness, those are the qualities you will need most when the right doors open, when the real dreams arrive, when the love that can actually hold you appears. Wrong timing is not a curse. It is preparation. Every delay strengthens you. Every rejection humbles you. Every fall polishes your soul, sanding away pride, sharpening resilience, deepening your capacity to love without clinging, to work without striving, to live without fear. Tonight, as you sit with the timelines you thought you missed, know this: nothing truly meant for you has been lost. Nothing that is part of your soul's real unfolding can be delayed beyond its perfect time. Nothing you need for your real fulfillment is slipping away. You are not behind. You are not late. You are being calibrated. You are being tuned. You are being positioned for something that matches the deepest parts of who you are. Trusting the perfection of wrong timing frees you from carrying the weight of missed opportunities, but even deeper currents shape the path you walk, currents that began long before you took your first breath. There are struggles that rise in your life like old ghosts, feelings of heaviness you cannot explain, patterns of fear, anger, or sadness that do not seem entirely yours. Tonight, you will open a door even wider and see a humbling truth. Not everything you carry belongs to you. Some of the battles you fight, some of the pain you heal, some of the dreams you are called to complete are the echoes of ancestral karma, unfinished stories from those who came before you, still seeking resolution through your living. The life you are living is woven into a tapestry that stretches far beyond the small circle of your personal memories. You are the child of lineages, the heir of hopes, wounds, sacrifices, and dreams too large to be contained in a single lifetime. The blood in your veins carries more than oxygen. It carries the longings of ancestors who could not finish their work, who could not break their chains, who could not fulfill their deepest callings, but planted the seeds inside you to continue what they began. Some of the fears you feel are not new. They are inherited. Some of the limits you wrestle with are not failures of willpower. They are the remnants of survival strategies passed down through generations. Some of the sadness you carry is not personal despair. It is the silent grief of lives lived in oppression, in exile, in silence. Recognizing the echoes of ancestral karma does not mean blaming the past. It does not mean sinking into victimhood. It means honoring the truth that you are part of something larger than yourself. It means seeing your struggles not as private shames, but as sacred opportunities to end cycles that have echoed for centuries. Healing ancestral karma begins by becoming conscious, by daring to name the patterns that were passed down. Patterns of scarcity, of fear, of shame, of division. By refusing to continue them unconsciously. By choosing to live differently, love differently, dream differently. You are not responsible for what your ancestors suffered. You are not to blame for what they could not heal, but you are being given the opportunity to offer something they could not. Consciousness, compassion, courage. When you heal yourself, you heal backwards and forwards at the same time. You lighten the burden not only for those who will come after you, but also for those who carried it before you without the tools or the freedom you now have. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you heal a strand of the ancestral web. Every time you choose generosity over fear, you clear a path for future generations. Every time you dare to speak your truth, to follow your calling, to love without condition, you set free the voices that were silenced before you. The echoes of ancestral karma also explain why certain struggles in your life feel outsized compared to your personal experiences. You are not just dealing with your own story. You are carrying the weight of stories unfinished, voices unheard, dreams deferred. And you are strong enough to do it. You were born into your lineage not by accident, but by soul agreement. Your particular gifts, your particular wounds, your particular dreams are uniquely fitted to the healing your family line needs most. Some of the battles you fight were never meant to break you. They were meant to break open the chains that have bound your ancestors for generations. You are the dream of those who came before. You are the living prayer of those who suffered without hope. You are the flowering of seeds planted in soil, soaked with struggle, with love, with longing. Honor your ancestors by living free. Honor them by healing the wounds they could not. Honor them by daring to dream the dreams they were too wounded to dream. Healing ancestral karma is not about erasing the past. It is about redeeming it. It is about taking the raw materials of history, the pain, the triumph, the survival, and crafting from them a new story, a new way of being. It is about refusing to pass forward what must end with you. It is about saying, the pain stops here, the fear stops here, the silence stops here. It is about becoming the bridge between the wounded past and the healed future. And it is hard. It demands everything. It demands that you stay awake when it would be easier to numb. It demands that you stay kind when it would be easier to harden. It demands that you stay hopeful when history whispers only despair. But you are capable. You are ready. You would not have been born into this lineage if you were not strong enough, wise enough, brave enough to carry and to transform what needs healing. The echoes of ancestral karma also carry gifts, not only wounds. Strengths honed through centuries of survival, wisdom born of suffering, beauty woven through hardship. You are the inheritor of resilience as well as pain, of brilliance as well as trauma. Honor that too. Honor the ancestors not only by healing the wounds, but by celebrating the gifts, by laughing loudly when they were forced to be silent, by dancing freely when they were forced to hide, by loving openly when they were forced to live in fear. Every act of joy is an act of rebellion against the forces that tried to crush your lineage. Every act of creation is a fulfillment of dreams once deemed impossible. Every act of healing sends ripples across time, backwards and forwards, lighting up the past, opening up the future. Tonight, as you sit with the struggles you carry, know this: you are not weak because you feel the weight of the past. You are not failing because you are still healing. You are walking sacred ground. You are living the prayers of many. Healing the echoes of ancestral pain brings you into a greater compassion for the story you carry. But even as you lighten those ancient burdens, life continues to place before you a different kind of test. The test of broken dreams. The dreams you dared to build, the ones you loved fiercely, the ones you thought would complete you. And still, they shattered. Still, they slipped through your hands like water. Still, they left you standing in the ashes of a future you once called certain. Tonight, you will see a truth that few ever learn to embrace: that broken dreams are not the end of your journey. They are the fire that refines your deepest desires, stripping away the surface-level wants to reveal the true callings buried beneath. Disappointment hurts because it confronts the gap between what you wanted and what life delivered. It feels like betrayal. It feels like punishment. It feels like a brutal no to the things you believed you could not live without. But what if disappointment is not life denying you, but life protecting you from attachments too small for the soul you are becoming? The dreams that break are often the ones rooted in the surface self, the self that craves approval, security, status, certainty, the self that dreams in the language of fear and longing for validation. And when those dreams collapse, it is not because life is cruel, it is because life is merciful. Life loves you too much to let you spend yourself chasing goals that would leave your heart hollow even if they were achieved. When a dream breaks, it breaks open the heart. It forces you to confront what you really want, not just what you thought you wanted. It forces you to separate your soul's true callings from the borrowed desires of culture, of ego, of fear. The alchemy of broken dreams is painful, but it is sacred. It purifies you. It burns away the illusions that kept you chasing things that could never satisfy your deeper hunger. It teaches you that your worth was never dependent on the dreams you achieved. It was always inherent, always whole. Think about the dreams that did not survive, the careers you thought would define you, the relationships you thought would complete you, the versions of success you thought would save you. When they broke, they left behind a silence, a stillness, a space raw with grief, but also ripe with truth. In that space, a different kind of desire begins to stir, a quieter desire, a truer desire. A desire not driven by fear of failure or hunger for applause, but by the longing to live authentically, to love deeply, to serve meaningfully, to create beauty from the raw materials of your real life. Broken dreams strip you down to the essentials. They teach you what you are willing to fight for, even when there are no guarantees. They teach you what you love enough to keep loving, even when it does not reward you in the ways you hoped. They teach you what matters when everything you thought mattered falls away. The dreams that survive the breaking are the ones that are part of your soul's real contract with life. They are the dreams too deep to be built on fear. They are the callings too sacred to be traded for safety. And sometimes, the breaking of a dream is the only way to uncover the deeper dream hidden beneath it. Maybe the career you lost was never the true dream. Maybe the true dream was to create, to inspire, to heal, and life needed to strip away the false structures so you could finally find the form that matches your essence. Maybe the love that ended was never the true home. Maybe the true home was inside you all along, waiting for the walls of codependence to fall. Maybe the success you chased was never your real path. Maybe the failure you feared was the portal to a life you never would have dared to claim otherwise. The alchemy of broken dreams transforms you. It humbles you. It empties you. It purifies your hunger until only the truest longings remain. It teaches you that what you truly desire is not something you can lose. It is not something you can fail at. It is not something the world can take away. It is the desire to live awake, to love without conditions, to create beauty from whatever raw materials life places in your hands. True desire does not cling. It does not bargain. It does not chase. It arises from a place deeper than fear, deeper than hope. It arises from the recognition that you are not here to conquer life. You are here to participate in it, to dance with it, to love it in all its unpredictable unfolding. When you have passed through the fire of broken dreams, you walk differently. You desire differently. You no longer seek from desperation. You no longer demand guarantees. You no longer worship outcomes. You live with open hands, open heart, open eyes. You work for the love of the work, not for the trophies. You love for the joy of loving, not for the promises. You create because it is your nature to create, not because you need applause to prove your worth. This is the freedom broken dreams offer you. The freedom to live without needing the world to validate your existence. The freedom to trust your own inner voice more than the shifting winds of external success. And sometimes, after the breaking, a new dream forms. A dream not born from fear, but from love. A dream not weighed down by the need to prove yourself, but lifted by the joy of expressing yourself. This new dream may look smaller from the outside. It may not impress the world. It may not win you fame or fortune. But it will fit your soul like a second skin. It will fill your heart with a quiet, fierce joy. It will make sense of the losses that once seemed senseless. You will bless the dreams that broke. You will bless the grief that hollowed you out. You will bless the empty spaces where your old plans used to live, because those spaces were never empty. They were being cleared for something real. Tonight, as you sit with the dreams that broke and the ones still stirring inside you, know this: you are not less because you lost what you loved. You are more tender, more real, more awake. The brokenness you carry is not a flaw. It is the doorway to the deepest wholeness you will ever know. When you see the silent wisdom behind broken dreams, a deeper peace starts to grow inside you, but life is not finished with its refining fires. There is another challenge waiting that feels just as sharp, just as painful, and just as misunderstood. It is the loneliness of being unseen, the ache of being misread, judged, dismissed. Tonight, you will learn one of the rarest, most important lessons: that not being fully understood by others is not a failure. It is a hidden training. It is a sacred purification designed to set you free from the endless hunger for external validation and anchor you into the unshakable knowing of your own soul. Being misunderstood cuts deeper than many physical pains. It feels like rejection at the core of who you are. It stirs up ancient fears of abandonment, of exile, of being cast out from the tribe. It tempts you to shrink yourself, to contort your truth, to silence your voice just to be accepted, just to be safe. But if you can sit inside the fire of being misunderstood without betraying yourself, you will find a kind of freedom no external approval could ever offer. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are not here to be accepted by every circle. You are not here to win the approval of those who cannot see your heart. You are here to live your truth. You are here to walk your path. You are here to be faithful to the call inside you, even when it isolates you, even when it costs you relationships, even when it makes you feel like a stranger among those you once called home. The soul's path is often lonely, not because you are wrong, but because the deeper you go into truth, the fewer people can meet you there. This loneliness is not a punishment. It is a purification. It burns away the need to be seen to know that you are real. It burns away the need to be praised to know that you are worthy. It burns away the need to be understood to continue standing in your truth with courage and grace. When you are no longer ruled by the need to be understood, you become free to live authentically. free to speak the truth that needs to be spoken, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Free to create the work that needs to be created, even when it is misunderstood. Free to love the way you are called to love, even when it does not fit the templates others expect. You stop living for applause. You stop measuring your worth by how well others mirror back your intentions. You start living in alignment with something deeper, something sacred, something unshakable. And paradoxically, when you stop needing to be understood, you often find yourself attracting relationships rooted in real recognition, not surface validation. People who see you not because you perform for them, but because they recognize the same truth stirring inside themselves. Being misunderstood also teaches compassion. You realize how often you yourself have misjudged others, how often you have seen only the surface of someone's life and made assumptions that missed the truth entirely. You become slower to judge, slower to label, slower to condemn. You develop the humility to admit that you do not always know another's full story. And in that humility, you make space for deeper connection. You also stop taking others' judgments so personally. You realize that when someone misunderstands you, it often says more about the filters through which they see the world than about who you actually are. Their fears, their wounds, their limitations are often the lens through which they view you. And when you understand this, you stop feeling the need to defend yourself against every misunderstanding. You conserve your energy, you protect your peace, you keep walking your path. Being misunderstood invites you to anchor your identity not in how others see you, but in how you know yourself to be. It invites you to root your worth not in public opinion, but in private alignment. It invites you to belong first and foremost to yourself, to your own integrity, to your own soul. This kind of belonging cannot be taken from you. It cannot be threatened by rejection. It cannot be diminished by slander. It cannot be undone by loneliness. It is a belonging that carries you through the seasons when no one else seems to understand what you are trying to birth, what you are trying to heal, what you are trying to become. It is a belonging that holds you steady when the world misunderstands your silence as indifference, your kindness as weakness, your dreams as foolishness. It is a belonging that allows you to stay kind even when you are judged, to stay open even when you are dismissed, to stay true even when you are alone. And from this place of unshakable belonging to yourself, you become a beacon for others who are still lost in the storms of needing to be seen, needing to be validated, needing to be approved. You become a shelter for those still afraid to stand in their own light without applause. You become a reminder that it is possible to live deeply, to love fiercely, to create boldly, even without being fully understood. The purpose of being misunderstood is not to punish you. It is to strengthen you. It is to strip away everything false. It is to teach you that real peace does not come from being seen perfectly by others. It comes from seeing yourself clearly and loving yourself fully. And when you meet others who are also misunderstood, the dreamers, the rebels, the healers, the misfits, you recognize them. You know their loneliness. You honor their courage. You walk beside them without needing them to be different, without needing them to fit neatly into your expectations. You become someone who offers others the gift you once ached for, the gift of being seen without being demanded to shrink, to explain, to perform. Tonight, as you sit with the times you were misunderstood, know this: you were not wrong to stay true to yourself. You were not wrong to choose your own soul over external approval. You were not wrong to walk away from circles that could not see you. You are not here to fit in. You are here to awaken. You are here to remember. You are here to embody a truth that does not depend on being understood. Learning to live without needing to be understood anchors you in a freedom few ever taste. But there is another layer of reality that even deeper trust demands. It is the ability to look at everything that seems random, the accidents, the coincidences, the sudden interruptions, and recognize that nothing is as random as it appears. Tonight, you will see a truth hidden in plain sight, that there are no accidents. What looks like chance is often life speaking in a language so subtle, so intricate, so precise, that only the open heart can hear it. Every detour, every missed connection, every unexpected twist carries folded lessons, secret protections, hidden catalysts, placed exactly where they needed to be. Randomness is a story the mind tells to make sense of what it cannot predict or control, but the soul knows better. The soul recognizes patterns where the mind sees chaos. The soul feels the invisible currents guiding you, redirecting you, preparing you for moments you would never have chosen, but that shape you into someone you could never have become otherwise. The illusion of accidents is comforting when things go wrong. It lets the mind say, "This was just bad luck." It avoids the deeper confrontation with meaning. But if you are willing to stay awake, if you are willing to stay open, you will begin to see that every so-called accident carried within it a key that unlocks a deeper part of your journey, a key that would have remained hidden if everything had gone according to your plans. The missed bus that changed the course of your day and introduced you to someone who shifted your thinking forever. The job you didn't get that freed you to say yes to an opportunity that reshaped your destiny. The illness that forced you to slow down and confront the parts of yourself you had abandoned. The heartbreak that cracked you open so deeply that new kinds of love, new kinds of strength, new kinds of wisdom could pour in. These were not random. These were invitations. These were messages written into the fabric of your life, disguised as disruptions. Even the smallest incidents, the delays, the coincidences, the near misses, often contain layers of guidance that only reveal themselves when you look back from a higher view. There is an intelligence moving through your life far more precise than chance. It weaves together your actions, your choices, your mistakes, and your unexpected turns into a story that is not perfect on the surface, but is perfect in its unfolding of your deeper becoming. This intelligence is not separate from you. It is part of you. It is your deeper mind, your greater soul, your highest self, working alongside the greater intelligence of life itself, constantly collaborating to place exactly the right challenges, the right helpers, the right crossroads in your path at exactly the right time. When you start seeing through the illusion of accidents, your entire relationship to life changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of random forces. You start seeing yourself as a participant in a sacred conversation. You start listening more carefully. You start paying attention to the small nudges, the strange coincidences, the disruptions that don't make sense to your surface mind, but stir something deeper inside you. You stop asking, Why did this happen to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to show me? What door is this trying to open? What lesson is this carrying disguised as inconvenience, as loss, as disappointment? Even the accidents that hurt, that scar, that leave permanent changes in your life, carry folded within them a hidden invitation to rise higher, to see deeper, to live more awake. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random, everything carries energy, everything carries meaning, even when the meaning is not immediately visible, even when the purpose remains hidden for years, even when the lesson comes wrapped in grief or confusion. When you trust this, you develop an unshakable resilience. You move through life with a kind of quiet confidence, knowing that you can handle whatever arises, because whatever arises carries within it the seeds of your next growth. You become less reactive, less panicked when things go wrong, less desperate to control outcomes, more curious, more open, more able to dance with the unexpected instead of collapsing under it. You realize that the events you labeled accidents were often life's way of answering prayers you forgot you prayed, protecting you from dangers you could not see, steering you away from paths that would have drained your soul dry, offering you treasures you would have missed if everything had gone exactly according to your limited plans. And when you meet others caught in the grief of sudden disruptions, when you witness others struggling with accidents that feel cruel and meaningless, you carry a deeper compassion. You do not rush to explain or to fix. You hold space for the mystery. You trust that even in their pain, something larger is unfolding that they cannot yet see. This trust is not blind optimism. It is hard-earned faith. Faith that life is wise even when it is brutal. Faith that meaning is present even when it is hidden. Faith that love is moving even through the darkest nights. The illusion of accidents falls away when you see that your life is not a string of random events, but a masterpiece being woven with threads you cannot always see, but that fit together with breathtaking precision when viewed from the wider perspective of the soul. Every delay, every loss, every unexpected meeting, every sudden ending, all part of the choreography, all part of the great weaving. Tonight, as you sit with the moments in your life that seemed random, chaotic, unfair, know this: they were not accidents. They were part of the conversation between your soul and life itself. They were part of the shaping of who you are. They were part of the preparation for the deeper work your soul came here to do. Once you begin to see that accidents are not random, that life is speaking even through chaos, a deeper wisdom starts to emerge from within you, a realization that takes even greater trust to accept. Sometimes doors do not close to punish you. Sometimes they close to protect you from betraying yourself. Tonight, you will step into one of the most important recognitions of your journey, that when life removes opportunities, ends relationships, shuts down paths you were ready to walk, it is often saving you from a form of self-betrayal you could not yet see. There are paths that look beautiful from the outside, but would have required you to sacrifice your deepest values to walk them. There are relationships that spark passion, but would have demanded that you silence parts of your soul to maintain them. There are opportunities that seem like dreams come true, but would have required you to become a version of yourself that was smaller, hollower, less true. Sometimes you were willing to compromise more than you realized. Sometimes you were ready to trade authenticity for security. Sometimes you were prepared to give up your voice, your boundaries, your dreams, just to belong, just to succeed, just to be loved. And life, in its fierce mercy, said no. Life closed the door, not because you were unworthy, but because you were too precious to lose. Life ended the relationship not because you were unlovable, but because your soul deserved a love that would honor, not diminish, who you are becoming. Life blocked the opportunity not because you were incapable, but because the success you were chasing would have cost you parts of yourself that you cannot afford to lose. These closed doors hurt. They confuse the mind. They shatter expectations. They trigger old wounds of rejection and failure. But beneath the hurt, there is a deeper wisdom at work. A wisdom that sees not just what you want in the moment, but what your soul needs to fulfill its true purpose. Self-betrayal is subtle. It often masquerades as ambition, as compromise, as practicality. It whispers that a little silence here, a little shrinking there, a little abandoning of yourself is a small price to pay for belonging, for security, for success. But every small betrayal adds up. Every unspoken truth, every swallowed dream, every ignored boundary pulls you further from your own center until one day you wake up and do not recognize the life you built. Closing the wrong doors protects you from that waking nightmare. It saves you from the slow erosion of your integrity. It saves you from waking up years later and realizing that you built a beautiful life that feels like a prison. Every door that closed was a mercy you could not see at the time. Every no was a yes to a deeper yes waiting inside you. Every ending was a beginning you were not ready to claim yet. And when you look back with clearer eyes, you can bless the closed doors. You can bless the rejections. You can bless the heartbreaks that kept you close to your own soul when you were willing to abandon it for comfort. This does not mean you were wrong to want what you wanted. Your dreams were sincere. Your hopes were beautiful. But there were parts of you that were still healing, parts of you that would have settled for less than the fullness of who you are meant to become. Life said no because it wanted to say a bigger yes to you later. The wisdom of closed doors also invites a new kind of self-honesty, a willingness to ask, where was I willing to betray myself? Where was I ready to silence my intuition just to stay safe? Where was I willing to shrink to fit someone else's vision? This honesty is not cruel. It is liberating. It frees you from repeating the same patterns. It helps you recognize the difference between real alignment and desperate compromise. It sharpens your discernment. It strengthens your courage. It teaches you how to say no to opportunities that look good but feel wrong. It teaches you how to walk away from relationships that trigger old wounds but cannot hold your healing. It teaches you to trust your gut over your fear, your knowing over your longing, your soul over your survival strategies. And it teaches you patience, because the doors that open from true alignment often take longer to appear. They do not come when you are desperate. They come when you are ready to stay true to yourself, even if it costs you short-term comfort. The right doors do not demand your self-betrayal. The right doors do not require you to sacrifice your joy, your truth, your dignity. The right doors will not make you choose between success and integrity, between love and freedom, between belonging and authenticity. The right doors will ask you to stretch, to grow, to rise, but never to shrink, to lie, to abandon yourself. And when you walk through those doors, you will know. You will feel it in your bones. You will feel the click of soul meeting destiny. You will feel the deep exhale of a life aligned at last. Until then, bless the doors that closed. Bless the dreams that died. Bless the relationships that ended. Bless the no's that saved you from selling pieces of yourself you cannot replace. Tonight, as you sit with the disappointments you once mistook for failures, know this: you were never being rejected by life. You were being redirected back home to yourself. You were being saved from becoming a version of yourself that would have survived but not thrived. You were being protected for the life you were actually born to live. Understanding that closed doors are often deep acts of protection softens the old anger you once carried against life. But there is an even more radical step waiting, one that few are brave enough to take fully. It is the step of trust. Not conditional trust, not convenient trust, but the kind of raw, radical faith that holds steady even when every visible sign tells you to give up. Tonight, you will uncover the truth that when you choose to trust deeply, not blindly, but wisely, you start to unlock hidden doors that would have stayed sealed behind fear, and you start to attract unseen support that rushes toward you the moment you stop fighting life and start dancing with it. Trust is not weakness. Trust is the most powerful force you can unleash when everything falls apart. It is not the passive surrender of the defeated. It is the fierce decision to believe in the unseen goodness of life, even when the ground shakes under your feet. Radical trust does not mean pretending everything is fine. It does not mean suppressing your fear or ignoring your grief. It means carrying your fear and your grief and still choosing to step forward with an open heart. It means crying when you need to cry and still refusing to close the door of your soul to the possibility of a miracle. Radical trust changes the way your energy moves through the world. It shifts you from resistance to alignment. It shifts you from desperation to magnetism. It shifts you from fear-based striving to soul-based allowing. When you trust life, life trusts you back. When you trust that even your setbacks are sacred, you stop wasting energy fighting them. You start learning from them. You start partnering with life instead of battling against it. This energetic shift opens doors you could not have pried open with force. It invites help from directions you could never have calculated. It calls forth allies, insights, opportunities that seem to appear out of nowhere, but they were not random. They were always waiting for you beyond the gate of surrender. Radical trust is not about certainty. It is about willingness. The willingness to keep showing up with love even when you feel abandoned. The willingness to keep offering your gifts even when no one is clapping. The willingness to keep moving forward even when the map dissolves in your hands. It is easy to trust when everything is going well. The real liberation comes when you learn to trust when nothing makes sense, when the job falls through, when the relationship ends, when the diagnosis comes, when the dream shatters. In those moments, trust becomes a lifeline to the deeper current of life that is still moving under the surface chaos. The current that has never abandoned you, the current that has been carrying you even when you thought you were sinking. Radical trust also teaches you to listen differently. You stop demanding answers on your schedule. You start becoming sensitive to the subtle whispers of guidance that life is always offering. A sudden idea, a recurring dream, a stranger's unexpected kindness, a book falling open to the exact page you needed to read. When you trust, you listen more deeply, and when you listen more deeply, you move more gracefully. You stop forcing, you stop pushing, you start dancing with the invisible rhythms that have been waiting for you to notice them. Radical trust also changes your relationship with time. You stop believing that delays mean denial. You start recognizing that divine timing is always in operation, arranging things behind the scenes that you cannot yet see. You stop measuring success by how fast things happen and start measuring it by how true you remain to your inner compass. You realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to hold steady, to keep your heart open one more day, to keep breathing one more night, to keep believing one more time, because breakthroughs often happen right after the moment you were about to give up. Not because life was testing you in cruelty, but because certain alignments take time. Certain ripenings cannot be rushed. Certain healings need space. Radical trust keeps you soft in a hard world. It keeps you open when it would be easier to close. It keeps you receptive to unexpected miracles, even in the middle of disappointment. And the miracles do come. Often quietly at first, often disguised as ordinary moments. A conversation that opens a new door, a chance meeting that shifts your path, a sudden burst of clarity when you were lost in fog. Miracles are not interruptions of life's natural order. They are the natural order showing through when your resistance drops and your openness rises. When you live with radical trust, you become a living invitation for grace to enter your life. You become a magnet for the hidden support systems that life has always wanted to send you, but could not reach you through the armor of fear. You begin to recognize that you are not alone, that unseen hands have been guiding you, that invisible rivers of help are flowing toward you the moment you choose to flow with life rather than fight against it. And this does not mean you never stumble again. It does not mean you never doubt again. It does not mean you never ache again. It means you know where to anchor when the storms come. It means you know how to steady yourself when the ground shifts. It means you know how to reopen your heart after it has been broken. It means you know that the story is still unfolding, even when the pages seem torn. Tonight, as you sit with the places where trust feels hardest, know this. You do not have to trust perfectly. You only have to be willing. You only have to open the door a little. Life will rush in to meet you. You are not being asked to pretend you are fearless. You are being invited to carry your fear and trust anyway. You are not being asked to understand everything. You are being invited to trust that understanding will come when it is needed. You are not being asked to be strong alone. You are being invited to allow yourself to be supported by forces larger and wiser than your individual mind. Radical trust is not the end of struggle. It is the beginning of freedom within struggle. It is the beginning of a life where even the hard times are not wasted, where even the losses are turned into offerings, where even the waiting becomes a sacred space of transformation. Trusting radically in the hidden goodness of life softens the fear that once ruled your steps. But there is one more unveiling that life has been leading you toward all along. A deeper truth behind every heartbreak, every delay, every unexpected ending. Tonight, you will step fully into it. you will see that every loss you have suffered was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to peel back the layers of identity, expectation, and illusion that never belonged to you in the first place. It was meant to return you to the original self that existed before the world began telling you who you needed to be to deserve love, safety, or belonging. Loss feels brutal because it tears away what you clung to for a sense of stability. Titles, relationships, roles, dreams. But what loss removes is never the truth of who you are. It strips away the costumes you wore to survive. It dismantles the scaffolding you built to feel important, accepted, worthy. It tears through the masks and reveals the raw, wild, beautiful soul that has been waiting underneath all along. The original self is not something you have to create. It is what you uncover when everything false falls away. It is the quiet knowing beneath the noise, the steady heartbeat beneath the fear, the soft fire that no disappointment, no rejection, no failure can ever extinguish. Every heartbreak that shattered your plans was a chisel carving away the layers of who you thought you needed to be. Every delay that humiliated your pride was sandpaper smoothing down the rough edges of your ego. Every failure that cracked open your carefully constructed image was a door swinging wide into the deeper chambers of your real being. At first, loss feels like death, and in a way, it is. It is the death of the false self, the self built to win approval, the self constructed to avoid abandonment, the self designed to earn safety in a world that teaches you to fear your own truth. But on the other side of that, death is the resurrection of something unbreakable, something that does not rise needing to prove itself, something that does not bend to the shifting winds of public opinion, something that does not sell itself for crumbs of validation. The original self knows its own worth without external confirmation. It knows its own belonging without needing permission. It knows its own purpose without needing a map. And you can feel it, even now, beneath the grief, beneath the confusion, beneath the fatigue of trying so hard to be enough. You can feel the faint pulse of the self that has always been enough. You do not have to achieve your way back to it. You only have to stop clinging to what was never truly yours. The relationships that ended were not a loss. They were a mercy. They cleared away the connections that reinforced your masks rather than your truth. The opportunities that slipped away were not failures. They were protections. They removed the distractions that would have kept you performing rather than awakening. The dreams that shattered were not punishments. They were invitations. They broke the cages you had mistaken for homes and pushed you into the wide-open spaces of real becoming. The return to the original self is not glamorous. It does not happen with fanfare. It often happens in the quiet hours, in the empty spaces, in the silent grief of losing identities that once felt essential. It happens when you sit with yourself long enough to hear the voice beneath the noise, the voice that says, even without the title, you are worthy. Even without the relationship, you are lovable. Even without the success, you are valuable. It happens when you stop rushing to rebuild and instead learn to rest inside the ruins until a deeper foundation forms. It happens when you stop seeing your life as a series of mistakes to fix and start seeing it as a sacred unfolding, perfectly timed, perfectly designed to strip away what is false and reveal what is true. The original self is not afraid of endings. It trusts that what is real cannot be lost. It trusts that what is true will always find its way back. It trusts that every death is a doorway, and every doorway leads deeper into the heart of life. When you live from the original self, you do not need to chase love. You become love. You do not need to chase purpose. You become purpose. You do not need to chase belonging. You become a home in yourself. And this does not mean you stop grieving. It does not mean you stop aching for the dreams that died. It means you learn to hold your grief without losing yourself inside it. It means you learn to honor the ache without confusing it for failure. You learn to see loss not as something wrong with your life, but as something deeply right. A signal that you are being initiated into deeper truth, deeper love, deeper freedom. The return to the original self is the ultimate liberation. It frees you from the exhausting performance of trying to be worthy. It frees you from the endless striving for an approval that never satisfies. It frees you from the small cages of identity you once mistook for your home. You are not here to fit into anyone's idea of success. You are not here to live a life that looks good from the outside, but feels empty inside. You are not here to become what the world rewards. You are here to remember who you already are beneath all the forgetting. You are here to walk this life as yourself, fierce, tender, whole. You are here to love from your depths, to create from your authenticity, to serve from your fullness, to live from your aliveness. And you will lose much on this path. You will lose illusions. You will lose false friendships. You will lose old versions of yourself that once protected you, but now restrict you. But what remains after the losing is something the world cannot give you and cannot take away. It is the quiet power of a soul at home in its own skin. It is the deep joy of a life lived in truth. It is the fierce peace of knowing you are exactly who you were always meant to be. Tonight, as you sit with the ashes of what you have lost, know this: you are not broken. You are being reborn. You are not less. You are becoming more real. You are not lost. You are finding your way home. Every heartbreak stripped away what was false. Every delay burned off what was not yours. Every failure cut away the masks you outgrew. You are standing now at the threshold of your true life. Raw, tender, whole. Welcome back, welcome home. You have not failed, you have awakened. And the best, the truest, the most luminous parts of your journey are still ahead. Thank you for walking this path. Thank you for staying when it would have been easier to run. Thank you for trusting when it would have been easier to close your heart. The world needs your original self. The world needs the truth you are becoming. The world needs the light you are now ready to shine. This is not the end. This is the real beginning.